It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn.
Beautiful morning, you're the sun of my morning, babe.
Welcome in. It's the Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021 edition of Sports Time on Sports 56. Gabe Kuhn, Brett Stats Norsworthy with you. Bryant Dake is producing the program. A lot to get to today. World Series Game 6 tonight. College football playoff rankings released at 6. We'll give you our top 4 at the bottom of the hour. Monday Night Football. Chiefs barely pull it out against the Giants. Just the lowly Giants. It's unbelievable to see how far the Chiefs have fallen. Grizzlies beat the Nuggets. They face off against them tomorrow as well. And then there's an interesting bit of legislation that Tennessee Congressman David Kustoff has put his name to that actually is going to challenge the NCAA. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. And also, later, we are going to give away 2 tickets to the Memphis SMU game, as we will all week. So tune in for that. We'll give you a caller number. You call in. If you are that number, we will give you the tickets. Also, first hour of our show, brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Family Leisure Studios, we're always live from, where family and fun come together. Relax at Home sale going on now at Family Leisure. It is 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Get out of the house, go to Family Leisure. Check out the Relax at Home sale. AutoZone listener line, 901-360-8255. Also, watch us live. Message us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. I have to start here, Brett, because the best time of year has returned. And I'm being very serious when I say that the MAC is back. Maction is back tonight. The return of the MAC.
And tomorrow night, yeah.
We have 3 games. Ball State at Akron, Miami,
You could
Ohio
chop up some
at
parlays
Ohio,
in there.
Eastern Michigan at Toledo. I am ecstatic. By the way, from Miami of Ohio, St. Louis legend, Blaine Gabbard's brother, Brett Gabbard, actually starting quarterback there.
Nice.
This is Maction is where the legends are made.
They are. And it is as equitable a football league as any out there.
And I know I'm sort of, seems like I'm poking fun, but I really do enjoy it. Tuesday and Wednesday, you have games from basically a bunch of players. Know what it seems like, Brent? And I've posed this idea to Bryant Dake. It seems like a bunch of Chicagoland guys that didn't land in the Big Ten, so they ended up at MAC schools.
It's a fair fight across those teams in that league, and the MAC's getting ready to come south for some teams.
And yeah, they are. And you get
Louisiana Tech.
You get some you get some winter weather too, and I love to see that.
Always get a game where the wind, where you almost think the game's going to be stopped because of the wind.
And it makes it just as likely for like a 10-7 game as a 70-63 game.
It sure does.
You never know who is going to win the ball game either. Tonight, I believe we have a 20-point favorite, believe it or not. I think Akron, of course, one of the lowly MBS
Oh,
teams.
yeah, we do, yeah.
Yeah, Ball State, I think, 20-point favorite tonight. That could go either way, regardless of who the favorite is, who's not. And also, I love the Midwestern and Northern type of names. You get the ones that end in burger, Roethlisberger, the O's, the Irish, the O'Callahans, the O'Rourke's, remember Dan Lefevre? Remember Dan Lefevre? He's at Central Michigan. Or the Vans, the Vanderbergs, what is it?
And tomorrow
Van
night you got Northern Illinois at Kent State. I saw Northern Illinois way back on September 4th against Georgia Tech. They were an unlikely winner that night, 22-21. Rolled the dice at the end of the game. They're 6-2. They're in some pretty good bowl projections.
I almost went to a MAC school. I don't know if I've told you this story. I almost went to Ball State. Tried to commit to Ball State when Pete Limbo was the head coach there.
Did you really? Wow.
Yes. And believe it or not, I've joked with Pete Limbo. Obviously, he had his stay here with Norvell and then left last year. But I've had my jokes with him about how he, at the end, they overbooked O-linemen. Oh, poor Gabe Kuhn got left out. But it worked out for the best, I'd say. It worked out well.
One door shuts, another one opens. It's true in anything. Gabe, you are good and you are talented in so many things. And you got a long, bountiful career in this if you want. But you know one thing you would have been good at with your gift of gab, you have some showman in you. You're a big guy, so
Right.
that fits.
Are we doing wrestling?
You would've-
Oh, that'd be great.
you still would be.
It's
Gabe.
not too
You still
late,
would
Gabe.
be. Dustin Starr could. He could lure you in, and you could be good guy or bad guy.
Bad guy.
Hanging out with my O-line buddies back in college, having some beers after the game, staying out till about midnight. We had a lot of conversations with people about professional wrestling.
It's not too late, Gabe.
It's not too late.
It's not. And you know what? At this point in your career,
I'm gonna have to get back in shape, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you would
I
have
think
to do that.
either me or Bryant could be your manager.
I'd love to be your manager, Gabe. I'm putting it on the record right now.
All right, I'm gonna have to see resumes. We're gonna have to put them down on the table.
I've told him forever.
Pay won't be much.
The only way I'm involved in a wrestling skit, and it's one of the best ever, is after the two main kind of guys go at it. And just both of them, as the late, great Jack Eaton would say, they're both rendered senseless. The referee's counting them out, and then the manager jumps in and, through some quirk of the rules, he's eligible, and I just merely set my foot on the other one's chest and cross my arms like this as they're counted out.
That would work. I'd let you do it.
It's one of the great skits ever in wrestling.
If I ever ended up in a wrestling ring, I would definitely
Squared
grant
circle
you that. I'd
to
let
the
that
insiders.
happen. I would let that happen.
That's
But
a
no, I'm
squared
telling
circle
you,
to the
if you guys want to be my manager, we can make that happen. But pay, it's gonna increase slowly.
So Brian and I have
it
to duel
starts
it out.
low.
It starts really low.
We just
start
had a
baseline.
caller who gave you your wrestling name.
What is it?
Gabe the Babe.
The Babe.
I like it.
That's great.
I love it.
That's
Babe.
great.
Well, does that? I mean, that's kind of.
Will it work for George Herman Ruth?
That does. Yeah, well, true. I guess so. Gabe the Babe.
I like it.
I need something harder than that. I need something more distinguished, more tough guy.
Well, but that even makes it better when you turn on everybody and you become that. What do the cool kids call it these days? The heel.
The heel. Yep.
Yeah, we used to call it the bad guy. But when you turn and be the bad guy,
We use the heel. Yes, like the Jake Paul, that type of heel.
Yes.
Gabe, I'm telling you, the Coliseum, roundhouse, squared circle, the pinnacle of wrestling in the 70s.
I wish I could have experienced it, and maybe my affinity.
I
was
was there when you could not get another human being in there. More packed for the wrestling as it was for Tigers basketball. I went to the 60-minute draw between Jack Briscoe and Jerry Lawler. 60-minute draw.
If I would have been able to be in attendance, I think my affinity for wrestling would be a little higher.
I was there the night Jerry Lawler
I
turned
watched it as a kid.
on the Fabulous One, Jackie Fargo. Mm-hmm. My youth was destroyed that night.
When did you figure out it was staged?
What?
What are you talking about? Staged? What are you talking about?
Never mind. I didn't say it.
What source were you coming at us with?
I didn't say it.
You're probably the same person who thinks Santa Claus isn't real. Jeez.
Hey, rough start in the
Easter-
wrestling business.
Yeah.
Thing. Stage? What are you talking about?
The Easter Bunny, by the way, is
Now Monday Night Football.
Oh, don't
was
even
staged
start with
last
the
night
Easter
for Kansas
Bunny.
City to win.
I.
That was staged. That's much more staged than wrestling ever has been.
I'm going to be honest with you, Brett.
And you think that fire's fake?
Mahomes is struggling, and he's just not very good this year.
He's bad at whack. Gabe, I see a college football team every Saturday that looks a lot like the Chiefs when the Chiefs aren't rolling along well because of injury. Things aren't when Ole Miss isn't rolling well. Matt Corral can look all out of whack, and at times Mahomes has looked like that. They're fortunate to be 4-4. I don't think they go to the playoffs.
They don't look like it, and everybody's sort of giving them the benefit of the doubt based on past results. And you can't do that with this team. He has.
Well, the Cowboys would be in the Super Bowl every year then.
I saw this
if we're
yesterday.
going to do that.
He now has 6 interceptions on extended plays where he uses his feet to get out of the pocket. And, that's something that the Chiefs have done so well, the scramble drill and everything else, letting him and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and Mecole Hardman sort of work in the scramble, sort of that form, free form. But this year, it has not gone the same because all of these teams are dropping back and letting them take the dink and dunk, and they're not taking it. And Patrick Mahomes, he makes so many good plays every game I watch him, but at the same time, he doesn't want to be boring. He doesn't like the boring play. And last night, he was great. I saw when he took the boring play, when he got the ball out of his hands quickly. 17 for 20, 158 yards, 2 TDs on passes that got out of his hand in 2.5 seconds or less.
And you texted me, some of these teams just aren't going to stop being themselves.
Mm-hmm. I tweeted it out, and I just really think this about what is going on with the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes needs to learn how to be more boring. Mm-hmm. He has to, because all of these teams are saying
run
the
that
same
play
thing.
action.
They know that the Chiefs will not run the ball, first of all. And when they did run the ball last night, they had a very good drive, went straight down the field and scored in like 8 plays. They won't run the ball, and they won't take the check down. And that's what teams know about them. So they're just going to drop back and make you uncomfortable, let you get into the scramble drill, and try to make you make a mistake. And that's been happening every single game so far this year. Chiefs had
next week they're at home against the Packers.
They had 2 turnovers last night.
That's almost must win.
But do you trust even remotely the way the Packers are playing the Chiefs to have a chance in that game?
I don't.
There's no way.
And that sets them at 4-5 with 8 to go. And a lot of road games left.
And obviously they win 20-17 last night. So for those
that
didn't catch the game last night, they barely snuck out a win against the Giants. But they had 2 turnovers. And I told
y'all got that easy with your covers, both you and Brian having the Giants.
I said this on these airwaves, and I attributed to Jeff Saturday. Mm-hmm. Turnovers don't just stop happening.
They don't.
And that is because he should have had 4. They should have had 4 last night. There was a fumble that one of his own linemen recovered. And then the pick he threw on a curl route that was negated by the offsides. Mm-hmm. And not to mention also the Chiefs, 12 penalties for 103 yards.
Now, Danny Dimes quickly gives it back.
Yes. He
Dimes is just bad. Nobody's ever mentioned him in the same sentence as Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Or they shouldn't.
Patrick Mahomes threw that first pick, and Danny straight to the other team, straight back to the Chiefs. It's just that was not
before I could reply back to you text way.
Yeah, that was just a relative. I mean, it was a close football game, but a badly played football game.
It
discipline
was
on both sides.
The Giants aren't any better.
Yeah,
I heard some trying to make that case post game. Well, maybe the Giants are better. I don't think they are.
I'll say this: Giants are. If they did not make so many ridiculous mistakes being undisciplined, they could win some ball games. But
I'm gonna pull a John King on CNN at the big board right now. Let's go ahead and call the Dallas Cowboys the winner of that division.
Yes, and they should win it by 2 or 3 games.
Brian, you can fly a banner, Drew Barry style.
I might have to.
And the fact that the Cowboys also won a game with Cooper Rush at quarterback. That's something that didn't happen in the past. In 2 games in a row against the Patriots, and then this past the Sunday Night Football against the Vikings, won games on last-minute drives. Something that you're not used to the Cowboys doing, regardless of who's playing quarterback, who's playing defense, and everything else. I'll ask this, though.
Okay.
Defensively, I think Dan Quinn's done a good job. Do you think that what they've done, though, is sustainable defensively to be legitimate as far as Super Bowl contenders once they get into the playoffs? Because
as long as Micah Parsons stays healthy.
They have been living off the turnover, though. Trayvon Diggs has been fantastic. I just wonder if they can sustain that level of turnover margin.
Are they legitimate Super Bowl contenders?
I'm close. I'm very close.
I'm really close.
I'm very close to giving it to them, but I talked to Johnny this morning on Sports 56 Happy Hour. And I want to see the sustainability of that defense because they have lived off turnovers and big plays so far. If those start to dissipate, how do they look? Dan Quinn, though, you have to give him a lot of credit. Taking over for Mike Nolan last year, how bad that defense was to what they are now.
And the Cowboys will be judged by the playoffs, and that's the standard set a long time ago by Landry, continued by Jimmy Johnson, assisted by even added to a little bit by Barry Switzer. And it's what they haven't had for so long as any playoff success, and it's been a house of horrors for them. I mean, every way you can think of losing. either being competitive and losing, heartbreaker, or not competitive and getting hammered. They've done it, and they got to do it in the postseason for anybody to really believe in them.
Yep, and real quick before we get to the top, not top story, got to go through the rundown today. 3:30, we're going to have Dave Lotion, of course, voice of the Tigers, also with Wolo and Friends from 10 to 11. At the bottom of this hour, we want to get your texts on this, 901-360-8255, or on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or sports56whbq.com. We're going to give what we think are the Week 1 college football playoff top 4 should be.
And we want yours.
We want to hear your opinion on that. 4 o'clock, Brent Beard on college football. 4:30, Drew Hill joins us after taking a week off last week from the Daily Memphian to talk some Grizzlies. 5 o'clock, Bo Marchant on the NFL. 5:45, we'll wrap it up with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Brett Northworthy here for FanDuel. Basketball fans celebrate the NBA's 75th anniversary season on FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can place their first bet risk-free, and if you don't win, you'll get up to $1,000 back. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, now is the perfect time to give it a shot. Player point totals, rebounds, assists, money line, over, unders. That's why I love FanDuel. That's why I bet on FanDuel. It's easy to use, easy to register, and now accepting Venmo. Fast withdrawals when you win. FanDuel, they pay your winnings in as little as 2 hours. It's your money. You've won it fair and square. They get it to you in 2 hours. There's no better place to bet on the NBA than at FanDuel. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up using promo code CASH to get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000 and make every moment more this NBA season. That's promo code CASH. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Give them a call at 901-362-8833. Great offers on all the 2021 models and the 2022s that are rolling in, and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2021 or 2022 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Top story of the day. First of all, love our texters at the AutoZone listener line giving me wrestling names. I guess I'll have to read those in the next segment before we bring on Dave. But the big story of the day.
You would be great, Gabe. You would make a fortune.
Grizzlies get the win 106-97 over the Nuggets last night. Ja, who had elbow soreness, was listed as questionable, was available, and he was fantastic, 26 points. And honestly, on a just regular night for him, didn't really notice all that much that he was doing. He should have had a bunch of assists, though. There was a lot of blown assists.
Oh, he really did.
He should have had near a
5
triple-double.
more, easy?
Oh, yeah. He should have had near a triple-double with what was going on. But the Grizzlies bench showed up, outscored the Nuggets bench by 9. Tyus Jones, 17 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 for 7 from 3. And he's a guy who has been –
I'm a Tyus Jones guy.
He's flown under the radar, but he's a great person to have on a team as far as a backup point guard goes, being able to distribute the ball. His 3 ball is getting really nice. I mean, he has worked on it, and it looks fantastic. Xavier Tillman showed up, 12 points. Kyle Anderson actually showed up down the stretch. He's been struggling so far this year, but 9 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. Jaren, good start. I'll give him credit. Started 3 for 3 from the field. I think he ended with 11 or 12 points, but he couldn't stay on the court. 5 fouls last night. Nope. Sat basically the entire fourth. Only played for 15 seconds in the fourth. And when we talk to Drew Hill later, I'm going to pose him a question about when do we know who Jaren Jackson Jr. is. There's been a lot of back and forth about who he is, and for good reason. He's been very inconsistent. He's had his problems. I want to know from a guy who sees these guys every day, sees how they interact, how they're coming along in development. I want to know, when can you start to put your finger on who Jaren Jackson Jr. is? as an NBA player. Also last night, sort of flew under the radar, Ja Morant, 1,000 assists, 1,000 career assists, 1,007 actually at this point. But good for him to reach that milestone.
He will have every record the Grizzlies keeps. Points, assists, heck, rebounds. If he plays long enough, he could get there in rebounds. Threes, made buckets, missed buckets, made free throws. He'll have it all.
He will. He absolutely will.
My top story, Game 6 of the World Series in a few hours, about 3.5 hours, in fact. The Braves better close it out tonight. Max Fried versus Luis Garcia. Braves need to close it out tonight, or all the pressure swings on top of them. And in Houston, deep in the heart of Texas, that stadium, that ballpark, that crowd. And tomorrow night, Game 7 will be on November 3rd, unless the Braves win it tonight. Game 7 of the 1991 World Series between the Braves and Minnesota ended on October 27th.
We are way too late.
30 years later.
We're here in November.
We're getting closer to Thanksgiving than we are to Halloween.
Yes, but I will say this. You say if the Braves don't win tonight, all the pressure's in their court. I think pressure's in their court right now. They're going back to Houston.
I agree.
Houston had a nice little game the other night, 9 runs. Bats are waking up.
You're up 4-0, and you let
both teams pitching
wiggle off.
Both teams pitching is paper thin. It's an interesting series, but I do agree. Braves, if they want to go ahead and win this series,
I'm
do
for
it
the
tonight.
Braves, but I'll be fine with Dusty Baker winning it.
Yeah, I heard.
I'm for the Braves.
Real quick, I heard something yesterday that sort of. I think most people are for the Braves, but someone said yesterday, I forget who it was. It was a sports talker, I believe, on ESPN. It might have been Sarah Spain, talking about how she despises the Braves too because of the tomahawk chop too. I mean,
I don't share that with her.
Yeah, it's just. Does it make the Braves as a team less likable? I don't think that's fair to. It's something they've done for a long time. If they want to get it out of rotation, it is what it is, but I don't know if it makes the Braves less
Did she
less
mind it when Jimmy and Rosalind Carter were doing it?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Not top story of the day.
Now, this is terrible. Henry Ruggs this morning at 3:40 a.m.
Pure nightmare. So sad.
His condition is unclear at the moment. He got in a very severe car accident last night that left one dead.
That's who it's sad for. That person, that family.
Very, very sad. And praying for that family that they get the justice they deserve. And you just never can replace
Henry Ruggs'
a human life. And according to Las Vegas PD, he will be charged with DUI. They believe he was under the influence, resulting in death. He rear-ended a Toyota RAV4 at 3:40 in the morning in his Corvette, in a Chevrolet Corvette, going very high rate of speed,
accident.
Very fiery accident, very bad. If you go look at what's left of the cars, when you see what's left of the cars there, this has happened before in the NFL. I remember being a St. Louis Rams fan. Leonard Little went through something like this. This is very terrible. It's certainly going to be a manslaughter charge of some sort for Henry Ruggs, but we will wait to see the details
Henry Ruggs,
of everything.
But I hate it most for the decedent's family and Gabe, the nightmare of drunk driving deaths, the trickle down effect, all the family members for the decedent, but also for Henry Ruggs, something so preventable. How preventable? Uber, taxi, car service. The NFL
provides it, and they will reimburse you for getting an Uber or a Lyft.
The NFL has a program. Players Association has a program. Most teams have a program. Gabe, I don't want to violate any inter-department secrets. Did y'all have anything at the University of Memphis that anybody you could call late at night? Because I know a lot of places.
Oh no,
we
could call someone. They probably would not be all that happy. You could call someone and figure it out.
Right.
But just take an Uber. It's easy. It's available. You go on your
now,
phone. You click
a lot of
button.
these programs are private. Like if you call that the team official, the team car service, it's supposed to be some confidentiality that they don't go to the general manager. But, hey, last night I had to go pick up Brett.
And just to think about what this adds to the Raiders' plate with John Gruden being out. Now you face something like this. Mark Davis is going through a whole lot. That Raiders organization is a mess right this second.
I know that at one time they were very motivated. I just wish the mothers would get mad again and mothers against drunk driving would step back up. And it's not lowering the DUI threshold. It's not lowering the blood alcohol. It's the repeat offenses. Most prosecutors don't want that BAC dropped because they don't want to get gal that had 2 or 3 glasses of wine leaving and left in her. They want the repetitive drunk driver. My not top story, good Grizzlies win last night at FedEx Forum in front of another, if not the lightest crowd of the year so far. Okay, I know why. Monday night, I know all the reasons. Ron Tillery used to have a good kind of spoof on the 1,001 reasons on why not to go to a Grizzlies game. From the weather's too nice, the weather's too bad, it's too early in the year, the bowl season, Christmas season, we'll go next week. Well, there's always a reason to go next time. Well, now you can go tomorrow night and see the same 2 teams again. We'll see if Wednesday night crowd improves over Monday night's crowd. I hope so, because there's 6 more Monday night games this year. And if we're saying that nobody goes on Monday, that's 6 more slim Monday nights.
Yep. And another game Wednesday against that same Nuggets team that the Grizzlies have shown they're capable of beating.
Wednesday night will be the 4th home game of the year. Is that right?
I believe so, yes.
So that already will be 10% of your home games played this year, right?
My hope, Brett, is that later in the season, as people start to see what type of product this Grizzlies team is, which they should already know, I'm hoping that more people show up. I know some people are still scared off by the negative test and the COVID-19
that out. So in Memphis,
vaccination card.
You have to have proof of vaccination, but no mask. In Dallas, no vaccination proof, but mask. Science. Come on.
I hear you. But that is our top and our not top story of the day. When we come back, we have some Tigers to talk with Dave Woloshin. Dave was unable to join us last week. He has carved out some time this week. Voice of the Tigers. You can hear him on Wolo and Friends from 10 to 11 on these airwaves. We'll be back with him on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
The all-new Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
A good friend of mine told me about this awesome place for lunch.
Oh, yeah? What's the name?
Neil's Grill and Bar, where the fat man rocks. Everybody knows Neil.
Where's it located?
It's located in Yorkshire Square off of Quince.
And what's it like?
The best lunch place in Memphis. You know, like real mashed potatoes and gravy. Everything is made from scratch. Monday through Friday, daily lunch specials like Monday baked chicken, Italian Tuesday, spaghetti, ravioli, Italian spinach, delicious fried catfish, fried chicken livers every Wednesday, Friday, Salisbury steak, barbecue chicken, or if you just want a vegetable plate, the best veggies in town.
What about the lunch price?
Meat and 2 veggies, $7.95. Meat and 3 veggies, $9.99. And veggie plate, $8.95. Big fat boy portions, man.
Man, you're making me hungry.
Come hear the best live local music at Neil's. Eddie Smith plays Sundays 5 to 9, Mondays karaoke, Tuesdays Debbie Jameson, Wednesdays Elmo and the Shades, Thursdays John Williams and the A440 Band at Neil's.
Where the fat man rocks.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Bellyacre's motto is City-Fied Farm Fresh. The goal is simple: provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the whole family. Two great locations, Regalia at 6130 Poplar and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. Overton Square hours Sunday through Thursday 11A to 9P, Friday and Saturday 11A to 10P. Regalia Sunday through Thursday 10:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 10:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Signature burgers are made from 100% grass-fed beef. Sandwiches, salads, and the best milkshakes anywhere. The burgers, so good, like the Dare Ya or the Double Dare Ya, and the melt in your mouth. And you have to try the Voodoo Moo Moo. It is the quality brand the Belly Acres team has developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings in a fun farm setting right here in the city. The goal at Belly Acres, to become even more sustainable as they grow. In Overton Square and in Regalia, the very best quality available in Memphis, burger shakes and smiles at Belly Acres.
There's nothing more frustrating than when your garage door breaks down. You're trying to get to work and it just won't open. What's the deal? Well, I'm not a garage door expert, but my friends at New Day Overhead Doors are. I was using New Day to fix my garage way before they came aboard with us. They are your one-stop shop for all your garage door and garage door opener maintenance needs. True professionals. And get this, New Day will beat their major competitors' price, oftentimes by half. That's half the price. 30 years experience. Honest, dependable, family-owned business. Don't ignore those strange noises your garage door may be making. It's New Day Overhead Doors for a simple repair or new garage door opener system. To schedule your appointment, call 901-351-5177. That's 901-351-5177. New Day Overhead Doors.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that PIN, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time, as simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Brett, I'll tell you what, with this wrestling conversation, my wrestling name conversation, you have gotten the text line jumping. I'll tell you what.
There you go.
We have one. They say, with no doubt, it's got to be Coon Dog. Someone else says, Coon the Goon. Gabe Kuhn the Goon. That's all right. See, this is the one I don't really understand. I'm an old lineman. I'm used to being called a big ugly, right? And someone says, gorgeous Gabe Kuhn. Gabe Kuhn.
We had Gorgeous George back in the day.
Someone says, you guys should bug off as far as wanting to be my manager. They say it should be Johnny Radio. Say it should be John Harden.
That's actually
gorgeous Gabe Kuhn with manager Johnny Radio.
And John Harden would be the perfect guy that they would hide out under the ring the whole night in the cage match, not to interfere. And who knows what's going on under that ring? And but he hides out the whole night.
What are you insinuating, Brett?
Well, I just said who knows. I said who knows, and then he interferes in the ring. In the match.
He'd be the guy that finishes off. Like, you want to put your foot down on the big
just
guy.
Holds arms across. Yeah.
Arms crossed. Yeah, that would be him. But you know what? Let's bring in Dave. Dave Woloshin, voice of the Tigers.
Dave, you get to come into wrestling talk.
Wolo and friends, 10 to 11. Dave, what's happening? You have a name for me? You have a wrestling name for me?
Well, as long as it isn't Coon the Buffoon.
Oh, whoa.
Then
No.
Good.
Hey, no one even suggested. You're the only one that suggested
Although
that,
that's
Dave.
good script writing.
As long as it isn't.
Well,
Keep your credibility. I'd have to refer to my friend Jerry Lawler for this conversation.
Dave, we need to get you and Jerry Lawler and all the wrestling consorts together. Gabe would make it big in it.
He would play the heel, wouldn't he?
Why?
Oh, naturally. Well, but you're the heel in Louisville on Tuesday night, and you're the good guy in Memphis on Saturday morning.
True. That's the way it has to work.
I'd have to go get back in the gym. I've already mentioned
It's
that.
a little bit like those 1-900 services for gambling, where it's absolutely free. If they don't win this week, give half the people one side and the other half the other.
Gabe, just keep your day job. You're doing quite well.
You know what? I was thinking about that too, but they have made this suggestion.
But Gabe's he's not allergic to deposit slips. If we can make more, we want more.
You are correct about that. You are correct about that. All right, Tigers hosting SMU. SMU just lost to Houston. They're number 23 now. 11 a.m. in the Liberty Bowl. The early line was 7. It's moved down to 5.5. SMU is favored by. What do you think about this Tigers team? Where their heads at coming into this week?
Well, I've already met on Monday, and we'll know more on Thursday when I meet with all the coaches. But with Ryan Silverfield, there are still so many players that are game-time decisions, including John Cartwright on the defensive line, including Seth Hannigan, most importantly, your quarterback, and I think not quite as important, but very important, Dreek Clark, who we haven't seen in a while. He wasn't even able to practice at all the week before the last game against UCF. And apparently he is progressing. He did practice this week or is practicing this week. I think he's important because Brandon Thomas really has not been the same since the second fumble in 2 weeks. So I think you got to establish a running game, especially if you don't have Seth Hennigan as your quarterback. So I think Dreek Clark is really important. Hopefully he can play, but there are so many question marks that are still out there about player availability. It's hard to get a handle on what this game is all about. I saw the line going down. I was really surprised because I'm wondering what Vegas knows that I don't.
If Seth Hennigan's not able to go, what do you think the key is? Is it getting a run game established and trying to be more aggressive on the defensive side of the ball as far as breaking on some of the passes Tanner Mordecai will be throwing and making plays on the ball?
Well, I think first and foremost, Peter Parrish will be more comfortable, and Ryan Silverfield made a point of that on his in his press conference. That two things will occur here. One, the kid was thrust into the role.
Right.
No one knew for sure until the last second, honestly, that Hennigan wasn't going to be able to go because Seth really was trying hard.
Almost impossible task.
And then this kid hasn't taken a snap since high school. That's really almost 3 years, and then you thrust him in, against not chopped liver. This is not UCF that we knew from a couple of years ago.
Still bound.
And I know wins and losses are what matter, but he really worked his butt off and gave all he really had.
He did.
He competed.
He did, but he was nervous, and I think he took off, a little early on several occasions where he could have waited. Maybe somebody would have gone and gotten open, although they were throwing the kitchen sink at him. They knew he was inexperienced, wasn't going to be able to make quick reads, so they were bringing everything at him, which made it tougher. But he had all those runs based on more panic than design. So I think he's going to be more comfortable. That's one. The second thing is I think Kevin Johns and Ryan Silverfield have really thought about this, and now they put in packages that they think will make it easier for him. So he's been practicing those packages and will have a much better sense of familiarity and comfortability with what they're going to attempt to do. So I think Peter Parrish is going to be better. But the run game, establishing that would go a long way to helping him out. And that means Brandon Thomas has to return to form and Dreek Clark comes back, or Watkins or Asa Martin or Cam Fleming or Marquavius Weaver, any of those guys really have to step up, and they haven't here in a while.
Dave, the fragility, the few plays, the precariousness of a year. Who knew that how everything unfolded against UTSA would lead to this for the Tigers and to that for the Roadrunners?
Well, the Roadrunners are good. Now their coach is being sought after. Do you see he just got a brand new
huge raise,
$28 million?
Yeah, I mean, Texas, San Antonio. Wow, that is a commitment on a guy they really like, which tells me that the SMU coach Sonny Dykes is really going to be in demand if the UTSA coach can get that kind of money. I know that football is a game of inches, right? We say that all the time, and it's also a game of moments. And you take away a few of those turnovers because that's still really the big bugaboo, and this is an entirely different season. Now you take away the moment in the Navy game that Hennigan got hurt, and I firmly believe, Brett, that if Hennigan had played against that UCF team, Memphis would have won the game.
I do too.
I agree with you there too.
I do too, and how much better it would have made him now, the open date and the next 4. We do all those preseason W's and L's. We never do them on the 1st of November, and we're not going to now. But this next 4 for the Tigers, it could be almost any combination, couldn't it?
You could win either game, any of them. You could lose any of them. I mean, I really believe that. East Carolina and Tulane are the 2 home games where Memphis could very well be favored, unless something crazy happens over this weekend, unless we find out Hennigan is out for the rest of the year. That gets you to 6. If you beat SMU, now they're a ranked team. If you beat them, then you're actually mathematically still in the hunt. Here's what people are forgetting: the 2018 team that made the conference championship game. Guess what they were after 8 games in the season? They were 4-4, and of course they won 4 games. They were 8-4, and they got in. They could beat Houston. They could beat SMU. They get the tiebreak on them. Tulsa, Temple, those teams could fall by the wayside. You actually have a chance mathematically if you win out, you've beaten the teams you're chasing to still get into that championship game. Do I think it happens? Not really, unless Hennigan comes back and he's just on fire. But that's still there to be had. It could.
Where are you?
Personally, I think a bowl game is really the best goal that is accomplishable.
I agree.
And I saw today Bill Bender, our friend Bill, he's got Memphis in the Fenway Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. Boston College in the Fenway Bowl, let's bring it on. Let's make the deal right now.
That'll be frozen.
How about Fenway Park?
That'll be frozen grass.
No.
Oh, that'll be.
It'd be beautiful, though.
That'll be fine, I guess.
It would be historic.
It would be but thinking of it from a player's standpoint, I'm telling you, how cold it'll be and everything. Let me stop looking at the negatives. Let me ask you about something down the road here. I don't want to go too far in the future, but I do want to ask about the quarterback situation going into this offseason. Grant Gunnell, likely to return from injury. Don't know what his future holds. Tevin Carter coming in as a high school recruit. What do you think of the quarterback situation going into the offseason for the Tigers?
Let the competition begin.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Helps
hey,
everybody.
It is a crazy thing, and Brett is talking about the fine line. Go back to what we were thinking in August about what the UCF matchup was going to be. Here's the kid from Arizona, Grant Gunnell. He is going to go up against Dylan Gabriel. What a passing showdown that is going to be. The over-under is going to be 100. It's going to be an incredible game. And instead, you get Peter Parrish against, this freshman Mike Keene, Mikey Keene. I mean, come on, who expected that? That's the crazy stuff that happens in football. Now you're going to go. Let's flash forward to next August. You're going to have Tevin Carter. I saw him the other day. He was honored at the Touchdown Club. What a specimen of a guy. He's got a lovely family. His mother is an elementary school teacher, a 4th grade teacher in the Memphis City schools. Just the most delightful woman. Just everybody so bright, so charismatic. He's going to come in. he's going to be in a battle with these two guys, Hennigan, who's got all the experience, Gunnell, who came in with the pedigree. Let the competition dictate who will be the guy. But now you've got three guys that you possibly will have faith in, as opposed to right now. You're hoping Peter Parrish gets familiar and comfortable, or that Hennigan can play.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people thought that there would be transfers. That hasn't quite happened. Besides Keelan Brown, I thought Gunnell would probably hop in the portal. Again, hasn't happened yet, so we will see in the offseason how that works itself out. Real quick.
Well, you know what? Let me, and I don't want to go over here on you guys, but let me address for 1 second the transfer portal. Talk to any head coach or assistant coach that really understands the way the system works. And you see a lot of these guys. I don't know what the percentage is, but I've heard coaches say 80%. That transfer portal is a good way to kick a kid off a team and not tell everybody you're kicking them off.
So
I would say a major percentage of the transfer portal is guys that are disgruntled
and then
off teams.
With the COVID year, that was highlighted because you had guys that you had to make decisions on personnel based on guys who were seniors and got their COVID year and wanted to come back. You couldn't bring everybody back, and it's been a process.
There's probably 1,000 guys in the portal that transferred thinking they were going to greener pastures and are not moving. Yep. They're still in the portal.
Yep, it is what it is. It's today's day and age. But he is Dave Lotion, voice of the Tigers. You can listen to him 10 to 11 on these airwaves on Wallow and Friends. Dave, thank you so much, man.
Gabe, this is your fatherly advice for the day.
Oh, gosh.
Stick to being a talk show host. Forget the rest of stuff. Don't let Norsworthy put these dollar signs in your head.
I'll stick to it. I'll take your advice.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Bye.
You got it, man. Talk to you in the morning. Dave Willoshin with us every Tuesday afternoon talking the Tigers. Week from tonight, Tiger basketball starts, and we'll make our predictions next week on all the games. There's not going to be a lot of losses out there. We'll get everybody's loss total next week. We'll even get Dave's. Also, as we're getting into the holiday season, a lot of family coming in. You're going to need plenty of food around. Maybe a little different than just the traditional holiday type fare. Let Jason's Deli do all that work for you. A lot of people have big Wednesday night event. And then, of course, Thursday, our big Friday after the big Thursday and into the weekend. Let Jason's Deli help you out. They like to say bringing more to the table. It's a family thing, and they do, with all the different meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, low delivery fees. Call your local deli for details. Vegetarian, gluten-sensitive options. Professional setup included with delivery by their delivery drivers who have food handling permits. They've got this down. They don't mind a late call. There's no such thing as too late for them. All the different locations can give you more information, like Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. Always, you can check them out online at jasonsdeli.com. Let them handle all the kind of the fraughtful nature of holiday get-togethers. Jason's Deli, let them do it. Trans fat-free, healthy, first franchise in the nation to be trans fat-free. All about choice. Whether you seek a gluten-free menu, the vegetarian sandwiches, they have it. Plenty of organic food to choose from. In these locations, the great salad bar. You can get the salad bar to go. Again, catering anytime, anywhere for $5,000 to $5,000. You got to go to the locations, though, for the complimentary ice cream at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. Check them out online at jasonsdeli.com.
Just talk with Dave about the Memphis SMU game. If you want to be in attendance, I have 2 tickets I'm giving away right now to the fourth caller. Fourth caller. Bryant Dacus will take care of you, and he will handle that. When we come back, we are going to give you what we think should be the top 4 teams in the college football playoff rankings that release at 6 p.m. tonight. We'll do that when we come back on Sports 56 98.5.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Willoshin, and I've moved. Now you can catch me with all my friends from 10 to 11. We'll go all over the country to bring you whatever is happening that day. Wallow and Friends from 10 to 11 on Sports 56 and 98.5.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
The Original Hot Dog Factory and Spike's Wing, located at 4265 Hacks Cross Road near 385. The menu offers a variety of all-beef hot dogs with over 20 choices. Try some of the best-selling favorites like the Bacon Wrap Memphis Dog and even sausages like Street Polish, Italian, or Jamaican Jerk Chicken. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 11 till 10, and Sunday, 11 to 8. Catering and event hosting is available. Have your next meeting or family gathering at the Original Hot Dog Factory. Now hiring team members. Apply in person. The Original Hot Dog Factory and Spike's Wing.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
The Christmas spirit is here at Hewlett & Dunn. Boots, casual boots, work boots, hiking boots, fancy boots, even safety toe boots. Lots of hats to choose from Whiskey Bent to Red Dirt Hat Company. Tremendous Christmas selections just arrived from Outback Trading Company, STS Ranch Wear, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps and pants. Tons of jeans from Area, Wrangler Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps, fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from OFO's orthopedic-approved shoes, boots of every size, every color, every skin. Just arrived from Santa, toy guns for the kids. And Done, from our family to your family since 1961. Merry Christmas. I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
The Tigers are home November 6th for homecoming against SMU at 11. Get your tickets at GoTigersGoTix.com. During the month of November, you can purchase tickets to any of the 3 remaining home games for just $80 with the Chick-fil-A family plan. This includes 4 tickets and 4 Chick-fil-A meal vouchers for just $80, a savings of over $50. Hurry now and don't wait on this great deal. November 6th against SMU at 11 o'clock, sponsored by Conway Services and the Commercial Appeal.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Get it?
The college football playoff rankings released tonight. The first week of them, 6 p.m. tonight. So Brett and I are going to give you our top 4 teams that we think should be part of the college football playoff rankings. We want to hear
We're really
yours
playing
as
for
well.
2, 3, and 4, aren't we?
Yes, we are. We know what
one
is.
settled in.
AutoZone listener line 901-360-8255. Also message us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and at sports56whbq.com with your lists. But I'll go ahead and start. And I start at 4 with Alabama. 7-1, notable wins, Ole Miss, Florida, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Miami. Top 10 in yards per game. Offensively, they've been fantastic. They have the Heisman favorite right this second, Bryce
What
Young.
about that loss, though?
The loss, it stinks. It stinks. But if they can right the ship and go win the SEC championship, win out from here and win the SEC championship, they are
I'm not
the
projecting.
committee.
I'm just going with today's book of business.
They're what I think the committee, and I think a lot of people around the country, think is the biggest threat to Georgia. And I think everyone is sort of on the same boat
And that
in
will
that
play
category.
out. And that brand, that jersey. And, look, they've earned that. If anybody's earned it, they have.
3 for me, I go Cincinnati. 8-0, notable wins, Notre Dame on road. I want you to remember that. They beat Notre Dame by 11 points on the road. In South Bend, they had the Indiana road win. They won by 14. UCF's another win. They're top 10 in defense and yards per play. They haven't given up a lot of opponent TDs, but they're balanced. Desmond
and they
Ridder
haven't lost.
Desmond Ridder is solid. They have not lost. And they're top 10 in points per game with 40. And I just want people to realize that when we look at all of these teams I'm about to mention, that Notre Dame win on the road might be the best of the crop. And I know Michigan State, who's my number 2 team, Michigan State 8-0, notable wins. Michigan, Miami, and Indiana on the road. They ended up winning by 5, so they won by less on the road than Cincinnati did. But Kenneth Walker's the Heisman frontrunner, 1,194 rushing yards, 14 TDs. And that win against Michigan means a whole lot. They're in a power conference. They're playing Big Ten teams every single week. So I have Michigan State at 2 and number 1. No explanation needed. Defense has been unbelievable. They're top 5 in just about every statistical category. Georgia at 8-0.
I'm with you. I'll go the other direction. Georgia 1, Michigan State 2, Cincinnati 3, my 4. Do I think Alabama would beat them if they played this Saturday? Yes, I do. But so far this year, they haven't lost. They've had some narrow escapes. Yep. It's not anything that hangs at the Louvre. I don't think they're as good as some of the Lincoln Riley teams of the last few years. But for tonight, I would give the designation of 4 to Boomer Sooner.
And I've seen a lot of conversations around what the top 4 will look like tonight. Everybody has Georgia at 1. A lot of people have Michigan State in there. But there's a lot leaving Cincinnati out and putting Bama at 2 or 3. Now, with the 1 loss, I couldn't go there. But I do think the committee will look at Bama and say that is the biggest threat to Georgia, if we're being honest with ourselves. And I think they will somehow break the top 4 even with that loss to Texas A&M. For the rest of the show, Brent Beard here at 4. Drew Hill, 4:30, talking Grizzlies from the Daily Memphian. 5 o'clock, Bo Marchand on the NFL. 5:45, we'll wrap up the show with Taco Bell Crunch Time. We'll be right back with Brent Beard on college football on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything. A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
Hey, congratulations on the new time slot.
Thanks. And congratulations to you for, let's say, doing commercials for Central Barbecue.
That was very diplomatic.
Hey, doing commercials for Central Barbecue is nothing to sneeze at. You get to tell everyone about the best slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue there is, plus all the other great things at Central Barbecue, like the ribs and the smoked chicken wings and the great bologna sandwich. You get to tell them about those things.
Actually, you just did. You just did the one job I had to do today.
I mean, I didn't mean to.
Fine. You get the new time slot, and you get to tell everyone about Central Barbecue.
If you drive a car, truck, SUV, or vehicle of any kind, you need Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. That's right. With the free Get Upside gas app, you can get up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time you buy gas. Nearly 3 million people have earned cash back with Get Upside just for buying gas.
I always use Get Upside. Some months I make $200 to $300.
I love getting money back for things I use every day. It's just free money for buying gas.
There's no catch. It's simple. And you get your cash back right away.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents per gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code HORN for a 25 cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents per gallon on your next fill up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Earn cash back on gas on every fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code HORN for a 25 cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code HORN.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Of course, we have everything you need for that big brake job. Right now, you can save 15% when you buy any Duralast brake pads and any 2 Duralast rotors. It's a great way to save while you take on the full job. Oh, and here's a tip for you. Go for a nice, easy drive after you finish the job. It'll help you break in your new brakes. For more tips, visit AutoZone.com/DIY. Restrictions apply.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Hour number 2, Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Bryant Dacus producing the program. We just got done, Brett and I, with our college football playoff top 4, what we think it should be tonight at 6 p.m. Hit us up on the AutoZone listener line. Get in the zone, AutoZone 901-360-8255. Also watch us live and message us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com as well as Twitter. But let's bring in our friend Brent Beard, who we talk to every single Wednesday. Or Tuesday, I should say.
Every Tuesday. We can check
talking,
in with
talking,
him on Wednesday.
Talking college football with Brent. Brent, how are you, man?
Gabe, 2 things real quick. Number one, I eat at Jason's Deli at least once a week.
Right.
Good for you.
See
if you can up that a little bit.
The salmon, listen, the salmon sandwich and the chicken pot pie soup is one of my favorite meals. And number 2, Gabe, have you noticed that your partner is a 10% better human being this week because he actually spent some time in Jasper, Alabama?
Yeah,
the Crossroads.
Yeah, it's huge.
We talked about it Friday on there
Yes.
after I tweeted that.
He's been in a much better mood.
Yeah.
Well,
Walker County always does it for me.
It does. I've said that for years. It's just a 10% better human when you're able to do that. So
I'm telling you, Brent, I told the guys, you can go through there. I promise if you stayed 30 minutes.
I've never experienced it.
You would see every SEC logo. With Mizzou might take an hour, but I guarantee you I saw 10 while I was in there getting gasoline and a hot dog and a Coca-Cola. Now, here's one beef I have with all convenience stores these days. Do you have to buy a 94-ounce Coke? Can we just have a 12-ounce can somewhere in the building?
There is no reason to supersize everything, frankly. No, I would agree with you.
But I tell you something else that happened in there.
They're selling to truckers, guys. They're selling to truckers.
I know. I tell you something else happened. So I get my hot dog, and I asked the lady, I said, where's the mustard? And literally, it was right under my right hand. She said, sir, right there. I said, oh, okay. It was right there.
And Brett, listen, in Jasper, Alabama, and Gabe, I'm not kidding, they would have opened the mustard and poured it on his hot dog just to be friendly if he would have wanted that.
All right.
I love stopping at that Love's on 78.
I need to make the
Highway
trip.
22. Oh, we're going to get you there. This week in the SEC, Brent, Gabe and I went over it yesterday. The rest of the way, everybody except for Vandy has 4 games left.
Right.
11 out of those 13 teams we came up with yesterday, at least 10. Everybody's thinking at 3-1 low side arithmetic. There's no way that can happen.
No, because someone has to lose, right? I mean and we lose perspective of that. Now, for instance, here I'll give you your example is the team that's not real happy right now in my neighborhood. That I went to the Georgia-Florida game this weekend, or the Florida Gators, and their fans too, Brett and Gabe, think that with the schedule they've got left, that they can be 4-0, be 8-4, win a bowl game, and be 9-4.
They really should be.
Everything's happy at that point.
That should be the expectations, and that should be the one throwaway year for Dan Mullen, shouldn't it?
Yes, but I tell you, he has gotten an unprecedented amount of criticism this week. Not only losing the game, and frankly, although they were in the game, they played hard. Georgia just dominated them the last few minutes of the first half. But Dan's problem, guys, is when he gets in front of a microphone, he says things that he shouldn't say, or they come out the wrong way, such as the recruiting comment that we'll talk about recruiting during the recruiting season. And we've heard from all these Gator fans who've said, well, Dan, that's the reason we're in this mess now.
Was that taken out of context, or is that sort of his overarching thought on recruiting?
Gabe, the truth of the matter is that he really doesn't like recruiting. Mm-hmm. And the problem is when they are usually 8, 9, 10 in the nation in recruiting, which sounds good, but the three of us know if you're number 10 in recruiting, how many SEC teams are in front of you?
Yeah, you're 6.
4. Yeah, at least. Yeah.
Absolutely.
At least. And in the meantime, juxtapose his attitude on recruiting with that of 70-year-old Nick Saban, and he's out there making a TikTok video with a recruit's mother.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Or Kirby. You can certainly say that, too. So, yes. And for those guys, they eat, drink, and sleep it. And Kirby even basically said, and I'm not even saying this was a jab at Florida, even though it probably was to some degree, or maybe at least 20% of it was. Kirby was asked about recruiting, and Kirby basically, yes, we recruit here every day. It's a lifeblood of the program. And what he said is basically what Dan Mullen should have said when he was asked the recruiting question.
And it's not hard in Gainesville. It's not hard at Florida to go recruit good guys. You look
Correct.
at what Nick Saban does. Nick Saban puts himself in these positions where in the offseason, he's at a Texas coaches clinic, and he decides that he's going to drop the information there that Bryce Young made $1 million off. And it's not that hard. It's not that complicated, but it just seems like Dan sort of puts himself in these weird positions. And I don't know if it's that he doesn't work hard on the recruiting trail. He may, and his staff may. But when he brings it to the media the way he does, it comes off as a tad bit arrogant at times.
Well, and see, the problem is, Gabe and Brett, what Dan went through yesterday was instead of giving, and as Gabe said, look, just give the media a pat answer. But no, he cut the press conference off abruptly. And then the media got word that except for the teleconference on Wednesday morning, there will be no players or coaches available to the media. So, and listen, the three of us also know, guys, the media in the SEC can either extend you for a couple of years when the natives are carrying pitchforks and torches, or they can basically abbreviate that contract a year or two themselves. Am I right on that?
Yes, you're 100% right. They can help you if you let them.
Yes.
But if you continually put out these sort of one-liners that put yourself in a bad light, it will not help you in the long run. And Dan, I think, needs to learn that, especially at Florida. And at Mississippi State, I think he got away with a lot of that. I mean, because it's not as high profile a job.
He did, and he certainly had his share of success. We've said this for years, and I know Brett's seen this up close. We're covering games every weekend, and we know what Dan's basement is. In other words, Dan's basement is probably 7-5 or 8-4.
Right.
What his fan base wants to know is, Dan, how high is the ceiling?
Can you win it all?
Yes.
That's the question. That's what we don't know, right?
Mm-hmm. And he needs to show it soon.
We also know he was a great offensive coordinator with Urban going out there and recruiting all that galaxy of star players.
No question.
But
yes.
He better show his ceiling soon, though, because I know that those fans are getting impatient,
but
more
Gabe,
impatient by the day.
How's he going to break through and show his ceiling with Kirby kind of on this Georgia run? With Tennessee obviously improving.
It's a great point. He's going to have to try to, though. And because I know that job requires you to win at the basement 8 wins a year. And
I think I counted
with what
it up
he has.
I think I counted up correctly this year. Now, this includes Georgia, the number one team in the country, the team that's going to be the toast of college football tonight when the first reveal is released. The SEC West this year is 9-2 against the East.
See, and that's correct. Even with Georgia as good as they are, an improving Tennessee team and a Kentucky team before Mississippi State, and Mississippi State, Kentucky is a great example of what Brett's talking about with the West over the East. And see, the thing with Mullen is, they can deal with losing to Georgia. They knew they'd lose to Alabama, but the LSU debacle and the Kentucky loss for only the second time in our lifetime, basically, that's what they're fuming about.
I don't think, but they don't want to lose to Georgia forever. I'll say that much.
And they beat them last year.
Right, but that's sort of but we're heading in a direction where it seems like Georgia's sort of taking the reins of that division, no question. Now, college football playoff rankings released tonight. What do you think should be the top 4? Me and Brett gave ours.
Well, I'll say, and and I don't have any problem with Cincinnati.
It's basically
in
a
there.
fight 2 through 4. Georgia,
It is
unequivocally
yes.
number one.
Yeah, I mean, what it probably ought to be, frankly, I'll give you a probably and what I think it will be.
Okay.
What it probably should be is Georgia, Cincinnati, and then Alabama, Michigan State, 3 or 4, or either reversed. And then you've got Oklahoma. That is there, and obviously, Ohio. I mean, Ohio State's involved with that too. What I think is probably going to happen is you're going to have probably Georgia, Michigan State, say Alabama, Ohio State, or Ohio State and Alabama, and then Cincinnati. So that would determine where they go, and just being in that room years ago in the mock committee, unless things have changed, I still say a lot of those guys are not going to have that much respect for Cincinnati. Do I agree with that? No, but I also am realistic enough to know that is probably where they're leaning. But was that close to where you guys were?
Very similar.
Neighborhood, yeah. And everybody's kind of in the neighborhood, and it will coalesce after games are played. I'm not going to freak out tonight. I'm not going to be out there trying to be the champion or the little guy for Cincinnati, but I do think they'll be wronged if they're not in the top 4.
Correct.
But I'd also know that we've got a lot of football to play, and there's going to be a lot of losses of teams that look spectacular tonight. In that mock-up, when you win, and you know a lot of people in that room really well, including the executive director, Bill Hancock, a friend of all of ours, and a really nice man, and he goes out and he takes the hit for that committee. Now tonight, who will take the hit will be the Iowa athletics director, Gary Barnum.
Yes.
Do you believe in your heart of hearts, and you're a strong, honest person, in your heart of hearts, do you think they're just not ever going to put in that non-Power 5 team?
What I heard when I was in that room, and again, as you guys are familiar with this, that this was like 2018, and they go back 5 years, 2013. And the team they were dealing with was Central Florida. And Central Florida had a gaudy record. Should we let them in? And then they looked at the strength of schedule, and the strength of schedule was like 120 or something of that ilk. And I just don't think that the committee is going to look at your non-Power 5 strength of schedule, and that's going to sway them enough to where they will put them in. Now, I may be wrong, but I know that's what came out of that committee, Brett and Gabe, that I was in, and I don't think those feelings have totally gone away.
I don't think they have either. And I understand that when you're talking about the SEC, the Big Ten, you're playing power conference teams week in, week out, whether they're 4-3, whether they're a 500 team, whether they're a good team, whether they're a bad team, you're still playing a power conference team. In Cincinnati, their best win in conference would be UCF, and UCF lost their quarterback and the whole 9 yards. But when you talk about that Notre Dame win on the road, how much should that mean?
Well, it has to mean a lot, frankly, with the cachet that Notre Dame's got, and that may make up for maybe some of the other games that the teams that weren't that strong. So that I don't know how much Indiana's going to help them, but Notre Dame certainly will.
What Cincinnati needs to have happen, they need Notre Dame to beat Navy, but to beat them by less than 7, because Cincinnati beat them by 7. So Notre Dame win, so then Cincinnati can go, well, we beat Navy worse than you did, and we beat you. Then have Notre Dame go to Charlottesville, beat Virginia, host Georgia Tech, beat the Rambling Wreck, and Thanksgiving weekend go out to Stanford and beat Stanford, and Stanford beat Oregon and all that good stuff. The best friend of Cincinnati football right now is Notre Dame. They've got to win to buttress Cincinnati's resume.
No question. Absolutely. And guys, again, we're still a few years from this happening, but the thing that's going to help with this is when we go to, hopefully we go to 12, or at least we're going to 8. Although I think it's going to be 12, frankly. Is a lot of this is going to be a moot point because Cincinnati is going to be in. And as we look at this, and we'll be looking at this somewhat differently. But I will say this again: you got to start somewhere, and they're starting there tonight. So there's only so much criticism, I guess, that we can give them at this point. But my thing is see, this is what's going to be exciting about the expanded playoff. Is right now you've got what, guys, 6 to 8 schools who are hanging on to every word that's said tonight. When we expand this thing to 12, we've got what? Basically 16 to 20 schools who are hanging on to every word, and that November means more than it ever did. So I can't, David and Brad, I can't believe television would ignore, and these commissioners would ignore how much that would do for the game in the month of November.
Mm-hmm. But the point that I see a lot of people hanging on to is the fact where you have an Alabama or a Georgia who has one loss, but they know they can stay within the top 15 with the resume that they could build down the stretch. And I do agree with your overarching sentiment there. The one question I've always had with the process with 4 is people talk about, and Brett, I want to hear your take on this as well. People talk about style points with a team like Cincinnati. What are you doing with style points? You beat a team like Navy by 7, right? What if they beat them? That counts against you if you only beat Navy by 7. But if you beat them 52-0, does that really make a difference to the committee if you're beating a bad Navy team 52-0?
No. Then here's what happens. Well, look how sorry their league is.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just it's tough.
They get you coming or going.
They do. They really did. Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I think your point's a good one because at some point the committee is going to look at that and say, well, okay, it's 52-0. How much did this really impress us with this? So I think that's kind of what Brett's saying. That it is there. I mean, would they be more impressed with 35-3 than they would 52-0? I wonder sometimes.
They're
I don't think they would be impressed with anything.
They're much more impressed with a Alabama 31-29 win over Florida than they are for a 63-0 Cincy over Navy.
Yeah.
And I said this yesterday, Brent. I mean, tell me the great Alabama win this year. Tell me the Gold Star win.
Look, at this point, I get that. I mean, their two big wins, that you can argue at this point would be Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Mm-hmm. So, if they beat Auburn at home, obviously, if they beat Georgia and Atlanta, if they get that 4, that trumps everything. But I mean, Alabama's in there like a lot of other folks that you can make that argument of. Really, and the bottom line is, who did they beat?
Right. Well, I'm sure.
And Bama better hope that Auburn wins out into the Iron Bowl. They will need that for an impressive win if they can get it on the Plains.
Right. And listen, I'm this A&M Auburn game this weekend is really the crossroads for those teams.
Elimination game. It is.
It virtually is, because
the defeated team could pack it in. And there's going to be a lot of checkout factor in November.
I would agree. As excited as people could be, and you're still up and rolling, I would agree with that. Like a Cincinnati, and see that, and I hate to keep bringing them up, but you get the point here. That's the concern with Florida. Is now that they're where they are, and you've got the noise in the system, are they going to continue to play hard, or are they going to pack it in? That is a real critical point for them right now.
Yep, I'm sure we'll get a lot of conversation here about 7 p.m. tonight, though. Once those rankings drop, I'm waiting for it. I know that I'll have a lot to say as well. But he is Brent Beard, joins us every Tuesday, talk college football. Thanks, Brent.
Gabe, you're doing a great job. We appreciate that. And Brad, we got to get him to Jasper so he'll be a 10% better human being.
I guess
we will. We always want to be better here. Thank you, Brent.
Thanks, Brent.
Guys, take care.
You got it, man.
Maybe if I make it to Jasper, I'll remember it's Tuesday. maybe that'll help out with that.
That's okay.
But when we come back, we're going to switch gears. We're going to talk some Grizzlies. Grizzlies, of course, get the win last night against the Nuggets. They face off against the Nuggets at home again tomorrow. We'll talk to Drew Hill from the Daily Memphian about Grizzlies and a little bit more of the NBA when we come back on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
You have opinions?
What do you hear? What do you say?
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm with John Burgos in the alley at the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see you. How are things at the restaurant?
Brett, things in the restaurant are fine, but like all restaurateurs will tell you, things are still not back to normal. Supply chains are interrupted. One week we can't find charcoal. Another week we're short on ribs. Another week they can't find the plastic bottles to fill our sauce jars with. I've watched in awe as our fellow Memphis restaurateurs have worked their way through these past months.
John, always new and exciting things at the Rendezvous.
People know we have Greek salad, vegetarian red beans and rice, and vegetarian nachos. But now we have desserts. Miss Barbara of O Taste and See has individually wrapped some wonderful desserts. We have key lime pie, chess pie, chocolate chess pie, and pecan pie. Not pecan pie, pecan pie. We also have a new twist at the Rendezvous. We now have outdoor dining. It's in the side alley along the Rendezvous, not the one in the front. And depending on the weather and depending on staffing, please call ahead to make sure we're open. And we hope it becomes the mainstay here at the Rendezvous.
Mr. Charlie Burgos' world-famous Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis.
Looking for some action? Sports gambling is legal in Tennessee. Action247.com. Local, legal. A sportsbook by Tennesseans, for Tennesseans. Go to Action247.com. Register and place your bets. Are you a sharp or a first-time bettor? Action247 has you covered. Visit us online at Action247.com. Local, legal. Action247. You got action.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Barks now offers you just about everything you need for your furry family member. Daycare, luxury boarding, award-winning grooming, veterinary checkups, diagnostic services including digital x-ray, fluoroscopy and ultrasound, complete dental service, vaccinations, preventative care for fleas, ticks, and heartworms, and just about any needed surgical treatment. And did I mention that we treat cats and all types of exotic pets? We are the newest member of the Barks family and the newest, most high-tech veterinary hospital in the Mid-South. Located directly across the street from Barks and Recreation, we are a full-service hospital with a fantastic, experienced staff. If you're having problems getting a timely appointment at your current vet's facility, we are here to serve you. Call us at 901-979-8888. Barks and Medication. Excellence in veterinary care.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Grizzlies get the win last night behind John Morant's 26 points. They beat the Denver Nuggets. They play tomorrow as well. Make sure that you hit the AutoZone listener line, 901-360-8255. Let us know your thoughts on the Grizzlies so far this year. Also, watch us live messages, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. But to talk about it, we bring in our friend Drew Hill from the Daily Memphian, Grizzlies beat writer for the Daily Memphian, at DrewHill_DM. Drew, how are you, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I am doing well. We're doing well.
Doing well, Drew. Thank you.
With the Grizzlies, we've had, and we know that game in, game out, there's going to be inconsistencies, but the main source of inconsistency and I guess sort of argument from the fan base is over Jaren Jackson Jr. And last night started off the game fantastic. Was great to start the game, but the fouls showed up. Didn't even barely play at all. I think he played 15 seconds in the fourth quarter. I guess my question to you would be, at what point do you think judgment can be passed on who Jaren Jackson Jr. is as a player in the NBA? No, he's 22. No, he's young still.
Yeah, he's too young to, I guess, make any overarching opinions about his career as a whole, I think. But given the fact that the Grizzlies have already paid him, and I mean that kicks in next year, so I mean maybe you could say next year, but they've already made the decision to pay him. I guess you start worrying about how he's actually playing right now. I think.
Okay.
I mean, like that may seem a little premature, right? Because I don't think that his season this year is going to be – he's going to play the way that he's eventually going to play by the end of his career. But once you start paying a guy big money like that, then, yeah, the way that he plays matters when he's under that contract. So, yes, you want to see Jaren play well for the Grizzlies. I wrote about this today. I don't think the story has posted yet. I talked to Jaren, and I think he does have a pretty good attitude about just not playing great at the beginning of the season. He's not like totally in the dumps over it or anything. He's also self-aware that he's not playing good. But I asked him about some of the negativity that's out there and frankly directed his direction. And there is negativity out there as much as I'm sure people get frustrated when you talk about that sort of stuff, but there is plenty of negativity out there. And he kind of was like, I can't really worry about it right now because there's another game, right? Like if I start worrying about that, then I'm not focusing on the actual game. And he made the point of saying, like, the only time I even talk about the negativity that's out there or just the fact that I may not be playing my best basketball is if I'm talking to the coaches, if I'm talking to my parents, or if I'm talking to you guys, the media. He says, I don't really talk about that kind of stuff with anybody that's not really involved in my basketball life. It just doesn't extend beyond that. So, yes, he's self-aware that he's not playing well. But his point is, I've got another game. So, like, eventually, I'm not going to shoot badly forever, right? Like, I've got another game. I've got to just focus on the next game because otherwise, how am I going to get out of the slump? I got no chance of getting out of the slump if I just start giving in to the negativity and, sort of the talk around me. I just have to focus on me and focus on what I'm doing. I think that's a good way of looking at it. And it hasn't been good for Jaren.
Right.
We can acknowledge that. It hasn't been a good year or a good start to the year for him. It doesn't mean that this year is lost by any means, but I think if you want to be concerned about him and his future, then you can start doing that now. I mean, I think that's also fair.
Drew, that answer about there's always another game, isn't that a little bit of the reflection of the Grizzlies writ large? And I'm going to do it in contrast to the Tigers. There's so many games. I mean, the Grizzlies are in they're getting ready to play game number 8 tomorrow night. You know, the Tigers won't play game number 8 until around December 10th or so. And they'll only play about 40 max. That's if they go all the way. There's always more games for the Grizzlies. Doesn't that insulate them a little bit to the day in, day out, talk radio, message board, Twitter criticism?
Yeah, maybe it does. And they're a little bit more mature, than college kids are. So I think if, I could say this about my own career once upon a time. I remember when I got hired as the Memphis Tigers beat writer, and you go look at the message boards, and all it was people saying the CA's broke, and so they're hiring some young kid that doesn't know what he's doing, or, oh, my God, they hired somebody from Louisville. He's going to be terrible. He's going to have this anti-Tigers agenda. And, even though I knew all that stuff wasn't true, it hurts, right? That stuff it doesn't feel good. And it just takes a while to develop that thick skin. And I do get the sense that Jaren has that thick skin. He doesn't really seem to care, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
he's made for this from his upbringing.
Right, yeah. His dad played in the NBA. He understands what it takes to be an NBA player. He understands that that's part of this deal. And honestly, that's kind of why I'm a little sensitive to it as well, is even though it is my job to call it like it is, it doesn't feel good to say somebody's playing bad. Right? You would hope that everybody plays great.
Drew, that's what I say all the time. People, I'm a shield. I'm a homer. I want all the local teams to do well. It's more fun to do this instead of having to come in and nitpick.
Right. Exactly.
And it's just it's going to be a process with Jaren. And you see a lot of people frustrated, and you see people frustrated at people being frustrated with Jaren Jackson Jr. So it's just
the toxicity.
Let it sit for a second and see how it works out. Because in the meantime, Grizzlies are 4-3, and they just beat a Nuggets team that's one of the premier teams in the Western Conference. I don't care who you are. I don't care if they're missing Jamal Murray, what the situation is. They handled that game last night pretty handily, 106-97. And I thought the storyline last night was Tyus Jones, of course, 5 for 7 from 3, 17 points. But this is, correct me if I'm wrong, this is about the first time I've seen him and Ja in the game at the same time, and it sort of worked out. Do you think we'll see more of that going forward? Was that just sort of a flash in the pan type of thing because Jaren with the fouls and you sort of had to mess with the rotations?
This year they've been okay, I would say, together when they used Tyus and Ja. They were good last night with Tyus and Ja on the court together. Tyus and Ja want to play on the court together, which is, that obviously matters. Taylor Jenkins is going to listen to his best player if he says, I want to play with Tyus on the court. Historically, though, they haven't been great together.
I think I saw the same stat as you last night on Twitter.
If you go back and look at sort of how they've played as a unit, it's not been very good. But part of the reason why I think it might work now is because the opponents are using basically their entire defensive strategy on Ja Morant. They're blitzing the ball screen. They're double teaming him at the top. They're trying to get the ball out of his hands. And so if you're the Grizzlies, there's really three ways, I guess, that you can fix that. You could either have Ja start earlier and make passes earlier and make dribble moves earlier to get away from them before they could double team him and try to trap him on the blitz. You could have Ja Morant be Ja Morant and do something incredible, like flip the double team or go behind his back or whatever.
Right.
That's an option. Or I guess you could take the ball out of Ja Morant's hands and find him on the offensive end in a different way where they're not just blitzing a ball screen that's coming at the top of the key. Well, if you're going to do it that way, you might as well have Tyus Jones being the distributor and the guy who can take the ball at the top of the key, because he's going to be better at finding the open player and making a good decision than any of the other options that they have. I mean, we've seen that Desmond Bane can do that as well, but I'm not saying that this is a lineup that's going to work permanently or even that it's a good idea to use both of them together. But theoretically, in that sense, it should work. And it seems like Ja Morant and Tyus Jones think that it would continue to work if they continue to go to it.
Drew, tomorrow night will be home game number 4. Through the first 3 games, opening night against Cleveland, it was an okay crowd. Last Saturday night against Miami, it was light, and last night was very, very, very lean. Why do you think crowds have been light so far this year?
I didn't think that I thought that the crowd against Miami was okay. The crowd last night, I'm not sure.
Fair enough.
You got Halloween the day before.
Yeah,
and
Monday.
You got Halloween, and then it's just Mondays are more difficult, I guess.
Have 6 more home games on Monday this year.
Yeah, they do have a lot of home games on Mondays. I'm not sure exactly. I mean, also the other way you got to look at it is you have this super exciting road trip at the beginning of the season, and everyone was paying attention to the Grizzlies by the time they finished that game against the Warriors, and everyone was hyped up for that Miami game, and they laid an egg. They played a stinker in that one, and so then the excitement kind of went down the drain, and they had to start all over and get another big win on Monday. So I don't know, probably a combination of Halloween, the kids were out the night before, they ate way too much candy and stayed up too late, so they're not coming to the games. And in addition to that, just the excitement around the team wasn't quite the same after that loss on Saturday.
And Drew, I keep telling people who may stay away because of the having to go get a negative test or be vaccinated. I keep telling them it takes maybe 3 to 5 seconds to get through that checkpoint. It is so easy. It's not even worth worrying about at all.
I know people that have done both. I know people that have gotten the vaccine, shown their vaccine card, gotten in. I know people that have used Clear, gotten in. I even know people that went and got a negative test, showed that at the door, and it didn't take them any time to get in.
5 seconds.
Quick.
5 seconds at most. Pass, look at it. If you have it, you're in.
And now FedEx Forum, still vaccination required, but no mask in Dallas starting November 15th. No vaccination, but mask inside.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what FedEx Forum does.
Right.
I have a hard time believing that they're going to enforce a mask mandate if there is no local mask mandate. And also, the vaccine requirement is in place for a reason, but it was put in place when the country was in worse shape than it is right now.
Yep.
Things are trending better again. I believe November 19th, it's set through November 19th no matter what, but once we get to that, that policy could change too. I don't have any insight whether or not it will or not yet, but that is something you can keep an eye on.
Last thing for our guest, Drew Hill from the Daily Memphian. Follow him on Twitter at DrewHill_DM. So Zaire Williams, sort of the process that they've gone through and trying to get him used to the NBA game. They've had a long leash. Last night, 2 for 11, 1 for 5 from 3, letting them sort of let it go last night. How do you think they're balancing sort of with how young he is, how impressionable he is? I feel like there's sort of a balancing act of how much do we push him, but at the same time, how do we handle with care when he has a stinker game like that?
Yeah, he's another guy that I wrote about today, so I would encourage people to go read that. He's interesting because they clearly believe in his future, and they've even told him that they think he could be a good defender now, even though he's skinny. because he should be able to move around these picks and these screens easier when he doesn't have all that weight on him, and that's probably true. The Grizzlies are playing the long game, right?
Of course.
And so they've been able to survive with him in the game, and I don't think that he's been completely terrible defensively or offensively. He's just made some mistakes. He's also made some good plays. He's also playing on a new level, and he's been playing against playoff teams like every single game. Right. So it's a hard ask for Zaire Williams to be awesome right away, going against this competition, having such a weird basketball season last year. I've actually been encouraged from what I've seen from him. The shot looks good.
Yep.
The defense, you can tell that there's some potential there. I mean, he's raw. We all knew that, though, coming in, that it was going to take him some time to get better. But I've been encouraged from what I've seen, and I kind of think the Grizzlies should give him a long leash, let him get some experience.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
Be
like
patient.
you said, there's a lot of NBA games. I don't think playing Zaire Williams an extra 3 minutes is really going to end up costing you in a lot of these games,
right.
And it might be more valuable to you than a win anyway down the line if he ends up becoming good.
Yeah, a guy like him, he's got to learn. He's got to learn through missing shots, through making bad plays. That's just the truth of it. And they gave him a long leash, and it's sort of been up and down with him. You definitely see the shooting form and his creation ability, but we'll see how it progresses throughout the year. But he is our friend from the Daily Memphian. Follow all of his work at thedailymemphian.com. He is Drew Hill. Drew, thank you so much, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it, as always.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Talk
Drew.
to you next week.
You got a busy week ahead for Drew. We really appreciate him. We know we're in the countdown to the holiday season, and I know where you need to get the holiday started. It's at the commissary, either the Germantown commissary or the Collierville commissary. Get on the list right now. Check it twice. Check it for both rounds of holidays with the hickory smoke turkey that they have as the holiday bird at the commissary. Germantown commissary number 901-754-5540, or in Collierville at 901-979-5540. Whole turkeys and hams. The small, 10 to 12 pounds, it'll feed 8 to 10. That has a quart of dressing, pint of gravy. The large, 18 to 20 pounds, it'll feed 14 to 16. That has the 2 quarts of dressing and a quart of gravy. The honey smoked spiral ham, so good. You might need to order that for a couple of days even after you have the turkey. $58.95. No sides comes with that, but it will be delicious. The sides, pint of gravy, quart of dressing, quart of sweet potato casserole. Also, all these pies that I talk about year-round, like the lemon icebox pie, the banana pudding, coconut, pecan, they have all that. The bulk pricing, minimum of 10 people. Just meat and dressing and gravy only. Turkey and dressing, sliced off the bone, $7.95 per person. Turkey and ham with dressing and gravy sliced off the bone, $8.95 per person. Cranberry sauce can be added. If you're planning on eating any of the above items Thanksgiving Day or on Christmas Day, you can pick them up the day before the holiday. They'll be cold. They'll give you heating instructions. If you're eating any of the above items specific day before the holidays, they will heat it up for you at the commissary. The commissary should be your place to start all the holiday cooking. 901-754-5540. The number in Germantown, 901-979-5540. The number in Collierville. And always, don't forget the barbecue, the mainstay at the commissary. You can order it by texting commissary to 33733, and always commissarybbq.com.
Braves up 3-2 in the World Series today. Game 6, Braves transition back to Houston. They will be at the Astros tonight. Fried versus Luis Garcia. We come back. We talk about that first pitch at 7:09 tonight right here on Sports 56 98.5.
Happy Hour has a new time. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour now from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
The Christmas spirit is here at Hewlett & Dunn. Boots, casual boots, work boots, hiking boots, fancy boots, even safety toe boots. Lots of hats to choose from Whiskey Bent to Red Dirt Hat Company. Tremendous Christmas selections just arrived from Outback Trading Company, STS Ranch Wear, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps and pants. tons of jeans from Area, Wrangler Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps, fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from OFO's orthopedic-approved shoes, boots of every size, every color, every skin. Just arrived from Santa, toy guns for the kids. Hewlett & Dunn, from our family to your family since 1961. Merry Christmas.
If you were to look up comfort food in the dictionary, you should find a picture of the menu from Sunrise on Jefferson. Whether it's for lunch or dinner, there's simply nothing like the food at Sunrise. Breakfast is served all day, every day, with house-made biscuit sandwiches like the usual, with bacon, egg, and cheddar, or the Rooster, with a fried chicken breast, house-made pickles, and Tabasco honey. At lunch, tuck into a downtown burger with bacon and cheddar, or a kickin' chicken salad. I think the name speaks for itself. If you're craving great food served fresh and fast, you're looking for Sunrise.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon. Cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code BOOST for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill-up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code BOOST for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BOOST.
Tiger Nation, your 2021 NIT champion Memphis Tigers are back and ready to make a splash in the American Conference. Season tickets are on sale now. Don't miss a minute of the action with the #1 recruiting class and a brand new coaching staff with Hall of Famer Larry Brown and former NBA star Rasheed Wallace. To lock in your seats for all the action and excitement, call 901-678-2331 or visit GoTigersGoTix.com today.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
First pitch tonight for World Series Game 6. Braves at Astros. Max Fried versus Luis Garcia will be at 7:09. I was interested to see today that they ended up pulling Jose Urquidy, who I thought was solid earlier in the series, pitched about 5 innings, threw a lot of strikes. They pulled him to put in Luis Garcia. I realized Luis Garcia may have more stuff, more powerful as a pitcher, but he can be wild at times, and he has not been all that great in the postseason so far. 7.62 ERA heading into this game.
No, it's hard to find a pitcher that's really had a lights-out playoff season.
This World Series has left a lot to be desired in pitching.
And you
matchups.
usually get one. I mentioned that 91 World Series between the Braves and Minnesota, and Jack Morris was so good as the MVP in that one. We just have not had any stellar pitching performance. And tonight, I would be stunned if either pitcher went 6.
4 to 5.
5
is the number that I would be. I mean, 5 would be a great outing tonight for either of these guys. And it makes me think about Game 1. If Charlie Morton was still available for the Braves, how big would that be at this point in the series? Astros are down to their last game. Braves could close it out tonight. If the Braves had Charlie Morton for a closeout game, you know exactly who they'd be going to.
Yeah. And he would, and he gave a leg for this World Series run.
I still can't believe he got through an inning on that thing. A broken fibula. Got through an inning and struck out 2 batters on a broken leg. No, I mean, it's unreal. Because
at some point you got to let the good stuff, you got to quit going to it.
Mm-hmm. Now we're gonna bring.
You got to hurt a little.
We're gonna bring on Bo Marchant here at 5:00. The trade deadline has come and gone, and there was a few things done. Obviously, Von Miller to the Rams for a 2022 second and 2022 third round pick. That was interesting to me, though. Real quick, I know we didn't get to discuss this too much yesterday. What's the Broncos' plan going forward now? Well, what's the end result with a second and third for a guy like that?
Well, they have ownership questions.
Right.
Peyton Manning had to deflect some of those on Sunday when he was going in their Ring of Honor, and now number 18 in the Broncos Ring of Honor twice. First one for Frank Tripucka, who Peyton got the permission from to wear the number when he signed with the Broncos, now retired for Peyton. You have coaching questions. It feels like they're definitely going to be a coaching change there in the offseason. You've got quarterback questions. You've got just direction of what the Broncos are going to be. You know who they badly miss? Pat Bowlen, one of the great owners of all time.
And you just sort of like I heard Terrell Davis sort of talk about this yesterday on KOA, which is their radio station out there in Denver. What's the end goal? Is there an end goal? Is it just offloading a big contract to try to start anew? Because that's what it seems like.
Here's the really tough one. What's John Elway's role the rest of the way?
Gosh.
He hadn't been great, but he's John Elway in Denver, Colorado.
That's true. We'll see. We'll
he can do anything he wants.
A couple of the other trades made. Melvin Ingram goes from the Steelers to the Chiefs. He had wanted out because of
I like that.
A smaller role. They have the least amount of, or second least amount of sacks in the NFL with only 11. So
no OBJ.
A little bit of pass rush help for the Chiefs. Charles Omenihu to the 49ers. Don't know much about Charles. Dan Brown to the Chiefs and Laurent Duvernay-Tardif to the Jets. Those are the ones that happened today. And also, this one was interesting. Jalen Smith, after being acquired 2 games ago from the Cowboys, has already been released by the Packers.
That
only appeared in
big issues.
2 games, 1 tackle. Is this the end of the line?
Probably so.
It seems like it. You don't get released after 2 games with a team that needed linebacker help.
The way they did. Both Dallas and Green Bay going to the playoffs.
Yep, and also Deshaun Jackson, who wanted out of L.A., has gotten out. They've released him. He can be picked up by another team. Deshaun's stuck around for a while. He's been a good receiver. He's a good deep threat, still can run real fast. But with Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods and how many weapons they sort of have in L.A., it was never really going to be him as the main guy, and I think he takes exception to that. But it is what it is. We will see what happens with that. And OBJ, who a lot of people thought was going to be moved, not moved at all. And he and Baker have struggled to get it going. Only 1 reception, 6 yards in their loss for the Steelers this past weekend. And Deshaun Watson didn't get moved. Surprise, surprise. But when we come back, we will cover this and more with Bo Marchant from collegetopro.com. We'll talk NFL with him on the other side on Sports 56 98.5.
If you drive a car, truck, SUV, or vehicle of any kind, you need Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. That's right. With the free Get Upside gas app, you can get up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time you buy gas. Nearly 3 million people have earned cash back with Get Upside just for buying gas.
I always use Get Upside. Some months I make $200 to $300.
I love getting money back for things I use every day. It's just free money for buying gas.
There's no catch. It's simple. And you get your cash back right away.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents per gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code HORN for a 25 cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents per gallon on your next fill up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Earn cash back on gas on every fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code HORN for a 25 cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code HORN.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pin, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time. As simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 115 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. So easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. Stock up heavy on all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
This hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road. Online at DeSotoAutosales.com. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience you've come to know and love at DeSoto Auto Sales. They are very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. All the cars test-driven, checked out bumper to bumper, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll go find that special car just for you. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, down-home environment. They care about your time, and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. You walk in within 45 minutes, test drive a car, credit approved, paperwork completed, you're out of there in 45 minutes or less. It's a guarantee, because they know we live in a world today that time really matters. DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Check out all the referrals and look at the beautiful cars at DeSotoAutosales.com. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
And we bring in our friend from collegeofpro.com, Bo Marchant, at Bo Marchant on Twitter. Bo, how are you? Bo, you there?
Yes, sir. How you guys doing?
Man,
hey,
we're
Bo.
doing well. We're
Good
doing
Tuesday
well.
to you, my friend.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
Tell us about the Melvin Ingram trade. Was that smart?
Yeah, I mean, he was. Tomlin said it great today. We'd rather have volunteers than hostages, and his time diminished. And I think it's just you don't want him to get hurt, because then they'll kind of be in a jackpot situation. But Alex Highsmith has taken such a big step forward in his second year. So I just think that they probably thought a larger role was there for Melvin Ingram, but that wasn't the case. Granted, Highsmith gets hurt, then you're kind of, but I don't think they lost much in terms of, what they want to do moving forward. And, if there's any friction in that locker room because of, maybe he wanted out, like I said, Tomlin said it best. They want volunteers, not hostages. So, they sent him to Kansas City for a 6th-round pick.
And then pass rusher to another pass rusher, probably a little better of a pass rusher. Von Miller to the Rams for 2022 second, 2022 third. Yeah. Rams, I think a lot of people think are the prohibitive favorite there in the NFC, but there are the NFC looks good right now with the Packers and Cowboys. How much does this do in regards to strengthening that defense?
When you think, Les Snead, the way that the Rams operate, I love that. They're not worried about draft capital. They want players that are proven in the moment.
I saw somebody say, at this point, I don't think they have draft picks. They're just hoping nobody checks to see if they're offering something that's not there. And that's how it's been with Les Snead.
It is. It's fabulous. You think of, they got Leonard Floyd from Chicago, who's really had a little bit of a rebirth, a renaissance, if you will. And then we all know about that D tackle they have in Aaron Donald.
That guy.
And then you add in Von Miller. When you look at that NFC, I don't think any of these teams are prohibitable favorites. I don't think any of them have dominated to this point where you're like, wow, this team looks head and shoulders above the rest. But if this defense gels and stays healthy, I just think when you get into playoff football, we know the offense can score points. It's just, does anybody in the NFC or, you could even argue in the NFL is going to have a team defensively on the caliber of the potential of what the Rams are going to be able to bring to the table. So I love the move. I think it's a defense that was pretty darn good, and then you added one of the elite pass rushers of our decade.
But they better win the West, because if they don't, they win the West, they could be the 1 seed. If they don't, they're at best the 5 seed. That means opening weekend of wild card, they play the 2. That could be any number of teams. That could be Dallas. That could be Arizona. That could be Green Bay. It could be TB12 and the defending champ Buccaneers. And it's on the road. Stan Kroenke spent $5 billion on the stadium. What's going after Von Miller? Why stop now?
Yeah, you know what though? The Cardinals took a step back last week, and a game. The AJ Green play, and Murray drove him down the field. It was a sad way to see him, especially hurting his ankle on the last play or the play prior to that pass that was intercepted. But nonetheless, it's going to be a race. I think my money would be on Los Angeles to kind of prevail. I just think they have the horses and they're just more established. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean the Cardinals can't be that team that does it, and they go, and win the NFC West. But I just think with the way that the Rams have been playing, and granted the Cardinals are 7-1, the Rams are both 7-1, so neither are playing bad football, but I just like this defense for the Rams, and I really, really like this move. Von Miller's hungry. 2 weeks ago when he was going to Cleveland, he was talking
MVP
about how he had
Super Bowl.
Yeah, and he delivered, and that's what I love. Very rarely does a defensive guy really break out and dominate a game on the largest stage and say, I won this game for our team. And that's what Peyton Manning on the offensive side of your, for your offense. So, Von Miller's the real deal, and he's hungry. He still wants to get after it, and he'll probably be, rejuvenated being on a 7-1 team, knowing that he possibly could get another Super Bowl ring.
And I know it was tough for him to leave with all the memories he had. Now, on the other side of that trade with the Broncos, just getting 2 picks in next year's draft, obviously a second and a third. This may be more of an abstract question than anything. What's their plan going forward? What's their plan of attack?
Well, they draft capital. They were always one of those teams mentioned in the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes when his name would pop up. So, who knows where that goes? It's anyone's guess. Put it that way. But at least they're building up some draft capital. If they want to go out and make a big move, and if that's not the case, then you like most other teams absent of Les Snead and the Los Angeles Rams, you build through the draft and free agency. So they're going to have ample amount of picks. They're going to have picks to be able to move up, and they've done a decent job drafting. We all know you have to have a quarterback that can really set things on fire. Jerry Jeudy's been out. He's a good football player. Cortland Sutton, I should say, is coming back off the ACL from last year. They have a lot of nice young pieces. Defensively, they got some nice pieces as well. So, it's a matter of getting the quarterback situation straight and being able to really put some points up on the board and not make things so critical on the defense week in and week out.
And more than likely, are they looking at a new coach in the offseason?
I would hope not. I mean, it doesn't look relatively positive for, Vic Fangio right now, but I thought this was an outside type playoff team when the season started. I just like their, what they brought to the table. Really hasn't worked out for them all that well up to this point, but they're a competitive team. I thought they were competitive last year. They were usually in the games and they, and not a lot of talent. I always look at the coach that has the least and gets the most out of it. Brian Flores was that guy the last 2 years. Now, there's rumblings in Miami if it's time for him to go. Right. I don't really know how much the roster has gotten better. I know he's in his third year, but they were 10-6 last year with basically the same team. I mean, Tua went 6-3. They had Fitzmagic, a lot of ins and outs on who's starting, but nonetheless, I mean, this season didn't go the way. I thought they would be a playoff team, and, they faltered. So, Brian Flores, Vic Fangio, Ron Rivera, if your team's not winning, you're definitely going to be one of the guys on the hot seat.
Bo, I like that. I like that coach that gets the most out of the least. And I think the answer to that question through the games played last night for the NFL this year, I think that's Bill Belichick for this year.
Oh, no doubt. I'd say that last year. I mean, if you put it,
maybe so.
Maybe so. Yeah, I mean, and I just love how he's competitive, in all the games. And like the Tampa Bay game, I mean, to hold Brady the no touchdowns, to have the Buccaneers to win on a field goal. I mean, that's genius Belichick at its finest. They might have lost, but I mean, you can't put it this way. If Bruce Arians was the coach of the Patriots and Bill Belichick was the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last night, what do you guys think the score would have been? Wouldn't have been 17-14.
Sure would.
It would have been a lot different. So, yeah, I think they've done it. 4-4, big, dominant win over the Jets 2 weeks ago, and then they come back in a hard-fought, adequate win, a respectable win against the Chargers. I don't think a lot of people probably gave them a chance. And lo and behold, Bill does what he does best. He's able to, diabolically break down a team offensively, and that defense came, and they're starting to find the run game with Damian Harris, and Mac Jones is playing good football, very good football. He really exceeded expectations. I know he was a first-round draft pick, but, I mean, he really has played solid football throughout the year.
Yeah, now, in the AFC, it's all over the place. I mean, last week, Bengals were the best team in the AFC. This week, it's the Titans. But now the Titans lost Derrick Henry for the year. But for the Chiefs, 4-4 right now, just won that game very narrowly last night, 20-17 over the Giants. And they're trying to do some things to address. We mentioned Melvin Ingram to them to try to help their pass rush. How fixable, though, at this point in the season, you're about halfway through, how fixable do you think that their issues are?
I think they're fixable. I know the year that they won the Super Bowl, going down the stretch, the defense was atrocious. And then, the defense got hot. They actually, and I remember breaking down the numbers, their defense actually played better than the 49ers defense, who at the time was one of the most feared, fronts and defenses in the league. But they got hot at the end. I think the Colts and Dungy, that was a pretty dismal year when, Manning won with the Colts. That defense really wasn't that well, but the defense got hot. And I think it's manageable. And we all know, the defense has to be a little bit better than average, adequate, if you will. Right. And number 10 has to eliminate mistakes and he wasn't good last night. I don't, anyone who watched that game, Patrick Mahomes was not an accurate quarterback. I don't know if he's still under duress just from the line not being up to snuff, but, Orlando Brown needs to get better. They acquired him in the offseason. I don't really think he's played that well, but at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes, everything's going to go through what he's able to do, avoid the turnovers and get back to that high-powered offense. And, the Chiefs won a hard-fought game against the Giants. I really thought prior to the game, guys, that I thought, hey, this is the time the Chiefs have to come out and they're going to make a statement game, a big, dominant win over a struggling Giants team. And we saw last night that was not the case. And, one could argue a play goes here or there. The Giants are going back to New York with the victory, and, the Chiefs are, 3-5. But they won 4-4. They're right there. Raiders are 5-2. I think, there's a long enough year where I think they're still going to be able to, climb the ladder on the AFC West and come out as the number one team in that division.
And if the Giants just don't jump off sides on that interception that they had, both teams last night very undisciplined, and the Chiefs with 12 penalties last night for over 100 yards. It's wild. This is sort of my assessment on what I've seen from the Chiefs offensively, and I tweeted this last night. It seems like Patrick Mahomes does not want to be boring. He needs to learn to be more boring because it seems like teams are dropping back in these deep zones, and they sort of know that the Chiefs, their style of play that has worked the past 2-3 years, has been get out of the pocket, create mismatches, and make the defense uncomfortable that way. But it seems like other defenses are figuring out that they're not going to run the ball, that they're not going to check the ball down.
That is a brilliant take. I mean, really, now once you said it, it was like an epiphany. I was like, oh, like, yes, that does seem like it does. It's like we're so used to him, running around for a half hour, throwing it off his back leg,
right,
a hula hoop, and it ends up in Tyreek Hill's arms. Yeah, it's right. I think you're right. It's the simple, he took so much credit for getting the sack last night. I mean, just to fall down and not think magic happened. Maybe that's a learning curve. But that is a very good take. It's something I'm going to have to really pay attention to. But I could definitely agree with you on that, he does do some magical things, and it's probably hard not doing those magical things when they're not available. And now they're coming to haunt him a little bit. I mean, 11 INTs in 2019 and 2020 combined. And then he has 10 so far this year. So definitely being a little bit reckless with the football.
If you're the Saints, do you work out Cam Newton?
You know what? If you think there's something left in him, I think you do. Like Todd Gurley, I think there's a reason why these guys aren't signed. I think there's a reason why Bill Belichick, let them go. I think there's a point where, maybe they're just not, up to snuff for what teams want, and they rather have a younger option. You think of, what these guys know and, the veteran leadership, but, the teams have these guys on a roster for a reason. They've been there all year. They know what they do. They know what they want to have done. And, Trevor Siemian had a long, it seemed like ages ago when he had a little bit of success in Denver coming out as a 7th round pick, but, nonetheless, Taysom Hill
feels like it almost never happened.
You're exactly right. So, I want to say because I don't really know how healthy Cam Newton is, but that's just the logic that I'm using. If he was able to play and able to help a team win, I don't know why you wouldn't at least, kick the tires around and see, what you have in
as we've discussed. If you sign him, you play him. You don't sign him for him to stand over there and watch.
Yeah, you sign him. I agree with you 100%, Brett. Yeah, if you sign Cam Newton, he's starting for you. There's no, him hauling around where he's going to hold a clipboard.
I hated it for Jameis. I still think I think he's had pretty good football in him this year, and I thought it was going to get better with Sean Payton. And as soon as – and I don't think it was an egregious horse collar. It really wasn't around the nape of the neck. It was more the kind of between the shoulder blades when the player pulled him down. And, boy, it shredded everything for Jameis. He was really hurt.
It was nasty. And I'd have to relook at it, but when I first saw it, it kind of reminded me when Sapp tackled Rice behind the line of scrimmage, kind of like same twist. It wasn't, wasn't the bat. We see some knees bend. It's just, it's the knee. But, yeah, this tackle kind of reminded me of that. It was just the whole twist and bend. And, he played well. And when you really break down, and we talked about the genius of Belichick. Sean Payton, great coaching the last few weeks. When you look at that offense, no Michael Thomas. Everybody listening out there on Sports 56, start naming wide receivers that play for the New Orleans Saints. It's going to be a hard step, but, they're built around a ground game. And I love that. Sean Payton went from a high-powered offense with Drew Brees, and now he's calculated it down, and he was able to, have success with Jameis Winston, still running the football, still having some beat passes. We know the one game Jameis, the opener where he had all the touchdowns. Hey, it's an ACL tear. It's not the end of the world, and who knows, he might get another shot with the Saints. So, I don't think the road, I don't think the end is, near for Jameis Winston. It's just very unfortunate that, he had the tear. Nonetheless, just like Derrick Henry, these injuries, they just rob us of good football, and it just has to be so disappointing for these guys knowing that you just can't suit up and do what you love to do on the weekend.
Yeah, your point on what Jameis Winston has got it done with so far this year. Marquez Callaway, his number one receiver. Traquan Smith, Adam Trotman as his starting tight end. That is a fantastic point. Now, Titans have the best record in the AFC. They've beaten the the best teams in the AFC. They've beaten the Chiefs. They've beaten Buffalo. They've beaten Indianapolis. Derrick Henry, though, out likely for the season with his foot injury. He made up 80% of the team's rushing statistics. They try to go sign Adrian Peterson last second, maybe to take some of that production. What do you think this is just going to put the Titans in a situation where they cannot compete at a high level in the AFC?
Yeah, initially I think this go two ways. One, to me, I think it changes that the most pressure is going to be on Ryan Tannehill. Yep. They're going to have to change what they do in terms of Ryan Tannehill passing the ball and how teams are going to play them defensively. When you had Henry back there, we knew what the game plan was, and then not only do you focus on Henry, now you got those outside options of Julio and A.J. Brown. Now you're not focusing on that. We're saying, hey, Ryan
can double those guys now.
Has to beat us. So that's, but on the flip side, if they get creative and they're able to have some success early, because they do have two bona fide stars in Brown and Julio, if you get a little bit of production and you can still run the football, then you throw the other two because they don't have the game plan against you. So, I think they could have some success. Listen, outside of the quarterbacks, I think we would agree that, the most valuable player outside of quarterbacks is Derrick Henry for the Tennessee Titans.
Yes.
And he's no longer there. So it's going to have a big effect. I mean, do I say that they're out of it or they can't, find it? Because, if you're a good running team and, we know the Shanahans with Mike and Kyle, they can look at, Elijah Woods out there, killing it for, the 49ers. These guys could put anybody in the backfield and get 100 yards, 1,000-yard rusher. So, if they're able to muster that up, Deonta Freeman, Peterson are going to be two backs that they signed. Freeman's an interesting guy, man. He was a third-round pick out of Texas. During his collegiate days, he was considered a, bona fide, power back. 6'1", 236. So, Peterson, he's beaten Father Time in a weird way. You keep giving him up and, went to Washington a couple of years and was getting 100-yard games and ran hard. That was the thing. The guy
Has he
ran
really
hard
beat Father Time or just kind of pushed with him?
He's pushed with it, I should say. But, him still going.
He's put up a good battle, but we know who's going to win that one. Cornbread Maxwell's right. He remains undefeated. Bo, I tell you, I think one area that the Titans are going to miss Derrick Henry in a lot of areas, but one big one, that 3-minute offense. 3 minutes to go in the game, hand it to 22, run them out of timeouts, get to the 2-minute warning, and just the kind of the slow craps that other team knows they're never touching the ball again. That's where they're going to miss him a lot.
Yeah, well, I'm going to disagree with you. That 3-minute offense, sometimes he breaks the long 75-yard run, so the team does get the ball back, but they have no shot at winning. So Henry is just, I was looking at his numbers. He was on his way to his third rushing title, and that would have put him.
He's on his way to 2K.
Yeah, again, back-to-back, extra game, but nonetheless, he was going to do it. That's pretty elite company, and. Again, I think everybody who loves the National Football League, loves football, was sad to see that, Henry was going to be out for the year.
You do know that Gabe and the Memphis Tigers played against Mike White in Western Kentucky in a bowl game.
And played against Mike White, and we also played him at South Florida. We played the South Florida Bowls, and he was there.
Oh, yeah. But then firsthand, Gabe,
slinging it around this Sunday.
405. He's in my wheelhouse. Mike White's one of my wheelhouse guys. Late draft pick, small school pick guys. So I didn't expect him to throw for 400 yards and the Jets.
He didn't expect it.
No, yeah. So but it was fun to see. And he played well. I watched the condensed game on NFL Game Pass, and he was accurate. He was even out of the game for a little while. He threw 2 picks. He was out of the game. He still comes back, throws for 400 yards. That's kind of on the opposite side. If you're the Bengals,
he was busted up.
When all that happens, when a quarterback like that steps in, throws 2 picks, misses time, comes back, still tosses for over 400 yards, you just kind of say, we weren't meant to win today, no matter what.
So another sort of thing that you got to see it up close on Sunday with Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield, 15-10. Steelers pull that one out. and there's been a lot of drama going back and forth. He only had 1 reception for 6 yards and only 1 target in that game. And then Odell Beckham Sr., I don't know if you saw this, made a compilation basically this morning on Instagram
of course he did.
Of Baker Mayfield missing Odell the past 4 weeks.
That's great for the team.
And it's been weird because it's the opposite of what used to happen. I think that they were trying to force feed him last year 1 with Kevin Stefanski. This year they're not throwing it to him as much. Where would you place blame, or is it sort of on both of them?
OB Senior has been making compilation films since he was 10, showing coaches you need to be throwing it to OBJ more.
Yep, I don't doubt.
Yeah. I mean, publicly, Beckham Jr. has been, quiet, and I think any receiver of his level, or at least what his level was, would, want the football, especially in games you want to contribute to the team. I think it's, the Browns are 26 in pass attempts in the league. So, there's only, 5 teams with, lesser pass attempts. So they don't throw the ball a lot, and Beckham's been hurt a lot. So, the chemistry, and I also think Jarvis Landry is one of the most underrated receivers in the league. I mean, his time in Miami was more, one of the most productive guys there. He goes to Cleveland, and then they bring in Beckham, and he has all the hype and all the, the entertainment. It's Odell Beckham, and Jarvis just kind of got tossed to the side. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I just think Baker Mayfield feels more comfortable, and his favorite target is Jarvis Landry, and they got other weapons, Njoku, Hooper,
right.
dozens of people. So, I really don't know why. I mean, we know they're a run-oriented team, but then again, there's so many factors. I just think it's difficult for Baker just to say, "Hey, I'm going to start slinging it around," and I don't blame Beckham. I don't necessarily blame Mayfield either. I just think it's part of the offense, and when he looks down, he's looking to number 80 first, and that's just the way it's going to go.
And I will say, to be fair, I watched the compilation, and he did miss Odell quite a bit the past 4 weeks, but it is what it is. So he sometimes his eyes play with him.
It's hard, yeah, but you play the game. I mean, how many times a guy's open?
Yes,
but me not being able to get you the ball at the right moment. I mean, you would think of his level, he would look to him.
You have to ask the questions. What was he getting pressured? What are who was he looking at first? What was his first read doing? Was his first read open? So there's a lot of things that go into that.
And I'm glad you brought that up too, because I was just wondering, what was that his first read?
Exactly.
His second read, yeah.
Right. So you can post a lot of those things without context, and people will latch onto them. Real quick, Jalen Smith, released by the Packers, only appeared in 2 games after being traded from the Cowboys. 1 tackle. Is this sort of the sort of thing that gives you the inkling that he's done?
I hope not. I really do. I mean, I thought he was fun to watch when he was in Dallas, and he really, really dropped off quickly. I mean, he was pretty substantial the last couple of years. So I hope this is not the end, but I was shocked and a little disappointed and sad because he was one of the guys I really enjoyed watching. A good story. I mean, second round pick out of Notre Dame, would have been a first round guy, but the knee held him back. Cowboys took him, and he had success, but they saw it last year. To take Micah Parsons, they knew the end was coming, and then just to release him outright like they did does speak a lot. But I'm going to hold out hope and hope that Jalen Smith. I'm holding out hope, but Brett said, Father Time gets you, or the injuries catch up to you, like a Cam Newton or a Todd Gurley. That you kind of run its course and you got to move on.
He is our friend Bo Marchand, talking NFL from collegetopro.com. Thanks, Bo.
Thank you, Bo.
Have a great week, gentlemen. Yes, sir.
Talk to you next week.
You got it, Bo Marchand, talking NFL with us. I love talking Belly Acres with our audience. 2 great locations, Overton Square and Regalia, and a 3rd great one on the way and on the way soon. The goal is simple: provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the entire family. Their motto, City-Fied Farm Fresh, and they've accomplished that. 2 great locations, Regalia at 6130 Poplar, and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. 3rd one on the way, probably after the 1st of the new year. Signature burgers are made from 100% grass-fed beef, sandwiches, salads, soups, so much great food, and the best milkshakes anywhere, and the service is so very good. The burgers, like the Dare You or the Double Dare You, and the melt in your mouth, and you have to try the Voodoo Moo Moo. It is the quality brand the Belly Acres team they've developed. using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings in a fun farm setting right here in the city. The goal at Belly Acres to become even more sustainable as they grow, and they will accomplish that now in Overton Square and in Regalia, and a third location on the way. The very best quality available in Memphis. It's at Belly Acres. Burgers, shakes, and smiles at Belly Acres.
Real quick before we get to the break, have to read this text from Raider Corey, and it has to do with Henry Ruggs. For those that did not catch the news, Henry Ruggs got in an accident this morning at 3:40 a.m. His condition is unclear, but there was a fatality. He rear-ended a Toyota RAV4, and the passenger in the other car was killed, resulting from the impact. He has a DUI resulting in death charge. We'll see what the Las Vegas PD says later today as they sort of uncover more details. But Raider Corey says, I'm just sick right now, fellas. The team was playing really well since Gruden fiasco, and now this. I feel really bad for everyone involved, especially the victim who passed and her entire family. Hopefully the blood results will show Ruggs wasn't under the influence but more dazed and impaired because he was just involved in a very tragic and horrific accident. We will see what happens with that. Thanks for the text, Raider Corey. You can follow him up at 901-360-8255 at the AutoZone listener line. When we come back, we talk what's trending, and what's trending, that's a lot of college football. There's a piece of legislation that there's a guy by the name of David Kustoff that is actually a congressman here in Tennessee. He's a Memphis grad that he brought to the table today that he believes will help the NCAA's enforcement process. And also, Clay Helton is being mentioned, and he might be a coach again. Looks like he has finalized a contract with Georgia Southern. We'll talk about that when we come back on Sports Time.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world at sports56whbq.com or on the Sports 56 app.
I'm with John Burgos in the alley at the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see you. How are things at the restaurant?
Thank you, Brett. We are here and we're making it. I have to say a big thank you to all of our customers that ordered food during the curbside days, bought gift certificate when times were slow, ordered food to be shipped from our shipping kitchen, and then came back down to eat when our doors reopened. We owe a debt to the Memphis and surrounding community for supporting us when we need it. I hope y'all all come eat some barbecue with us, but I also hope you'll support our local restaurants. And if your service is a little slow or an item isn't on the menu that you enjoy, cut them a little slack. Hopefully it'll be there soon.
Thank you, John. We appreciate you for feeding all of us, and we will take that advice to heart.
Brett, we also have a new twist at the Rendezvous. We now have outdoor dining. It's in the side alley along the Rendezvous, not the one in the front. And depending on the weather and depending on staffing, please call ahead to make sure we're open. And we hope it becomes a mainstay here at the Rendezvous.
Mr. Charlie Burgos' world-famous Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon. Cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code BOOST for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill-up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code BOOST for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BOOST.
Barks now offers you just about everything you need for your furry family member. Daycare, luxury boarding, award-winning grooming, veterinary checkups, diagnostic services including digital x-ray, fluoroscopy and ultrasound, complete dental service, vaccinations, preventative care for fleas, ticks, and heartworms, and just about any needed surgical treatment. And did I mention that we treat cats and all types of exotic pets? We are the newest member of the Barks family and the newest, most high-tech veterinary hospital in the Mid-South. Located directly across the street from Barks and Recreation, we are a full-service hospital with a fantastic, experienced staff. If you're having problems getting a timely appointment at your current vet's facility, we are here to serve you. Call us at 901-979-8888. Barks and Medication. Excellence in veterinary care.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back in on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Sass. Brian Dacus producing the program. Autos on listener line 901-360-8255. Hit that up. You can also watch us live and message us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. A lot going on in college football. Something of some local interest and also national interest is Clay Helton being hired at Georgia Southern.
I think a good football coach. I need to apologize to him again for picking USC to be in the college football Final Four this year. That didn't work out for him. It didn't work out for him, at USC. But maybe a start over for him at Georgia Southern. That's a long way to go from USC to Georgia Southern, both literally and figuratively. But I think he's a good coach, and I hope it works out for Clay. That's the start of the climb back for him.
Yes, I will say that's a tough job to be very successful at.
Very tough.
But Chad Lunsford, before him, who got fired this year, had some success there. So we'll see how that works out for him.
Their biggest success came in 1AA at Georgia Southern.
It's so tough, especially in that region of the United States, to recruit and get enough talent into a smaller school like that, because you're competing with so many people.
So many.
And not to mention Georgia State's being funded better than them at this moment.
And now if you're good at that level, here come the poachers for the transfer.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I will say this about Clay Helton. I know a lot of guys that played for him. I have buddies that play at USC still, and they love him. I mean, he is a player's guy. They will fight for him. They vouch for him. But it just did not work out at USC. And it's been tough for him because he was on the hot seat.
Since Pete Carroll, it hadn't worked for anybody at USC.
He was on the hot seat the entire time at USC.
From the day he was hired. They really didn't accept him.
Yes, and he just was not splashy at that time. It was his first head coaching job. It didn't seem like
he was presidential enough for that job. And now we'll see. And remember, when SC first opened, I said – I think they will look at someone in the pros. I wasn't meaning Mike Tomlin. Never meant that. Never thought that. But USC knows they got to go splashy. Here's a name I think will pop up in USC conversation. Pete Carroll.
You think he's going to transition away at this point? It's hard for me to imagine him leaving Seattle, and not to, when he left USC, he didn't leave it on good terms.
Sure wasn't.
They had a lot of issues, and they had a lot of things that sort of crippled the program for years to come. And I think that's part of the reason that you haven't had a good coach. You haven't had a coach be able to succeed since then. Is because he left in the middle of a hardcore investigation into that program.
He did, but a lot of time has passed, and they've done that before. They went back to John Robinson once before, after he was successful there, then gone to the pros, not as successful as Pete Carroll. There's going to be a lot of names around the USC job. James Franklin's name is very primary.
Yes, that's one that I just think would make the most sense at this moment. But we've talked about it. If people sort of think he's the clean, grown-up candidate, he's had issues in his past.
Those stories will be rewritten.
And at Penn State as well.
And at Penn State, that'd be 2 swings and I think 2 misses post Joe Pa, Bill O'Brien and James Franklin.
You think misses? Can we call them misses?
Foul tip.
That would be guys who didn't want to stay there long term. And you want a guy at Penn State who's willing to stay there regardless of what's on
Rip Engel and Joe Paterno for 155 years.
Yes.
I exaggerate, but they had him for a long
time. But Bill O'Brien.
I bet he'd be close to 50.
Bill O'Brien and James Franklin still, I think, left the programs in relatively good shape. And James Franklin's still there. I don't want to insinuate that he's absolutely going to go to USC, although that is what I think.
I know the statue came down for Joe Pa, but it's just hard to replace that guy that has a statue. It happened at Alabama. It happened it could be happening at Florida State.
Yep, that's very true. Real quick, for the Tigers, Calvin Austin named as one of 88 finalists for the Burlsworth Trophy, and he's so deserving. So the Burlsworth Trophy, of course,
that's a great trophy,
named after Brandon Burlsworth, who lost his
friend
life
David
in a tragic
Basil in Little Rock put that trophy together, and
Razorback lineman was drafted in the first round by the Colts.
That day.
And but that's a great trophy, and it's given to the best walk-on in the country.
And Calvin Austin deserving, and that's a good list to be on. The Little Rock, I think the Little Rock Touchdown Club. I know David Basil runs all that, and there's a lot of different trophies. Done a great job with it. And the day that Brandon Burlsworth was killed after the draft in the spring of '99, it was people just devastated by his story and how he would have been on some terrific, outstanding Indianapolis Colts teams with Peyton Manning.
And how he came up at that Razorback program, how he came up at Arkansas, it wasn't easy for him.
It's a miracle.
I don't even know how he got that done at that time.
He played high school at a place, I won't call them a factory, but it's just sound teams year after year at Harrison, Arkansas, but he really had to work his way to the top, and was Danny Ford started him, and then Houston Nutt got the best football out of him in '98.
Yep, and that's when he started. I believe most of his football was under Houston Nutt, correct?
No, his first 2 years on the varsity after he made the team with that story was Danny Ford was head coach, and a man I knew well, the late Mike Bender, was his offensive line coach.
Okay, that's interesting.
I know O-lines.
Yeah.
And in the day, Danny Ford was a good O-line coach.
You love O-line play. You love the trenches.
I do. I do. I know that's how you win.
Now,
anything it matters.
I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up. There is a bipartisan group in Congress, and that sort of seems
this already scares me.
This seems like
this is like the beginning of a joke.
That's like an extinct term, in my opinion, bipartisan group in Congress. But they want to actually create a federal law to force the NCAA to change their punitive process, their punishment process.
Mm-hmm.
This is David Kustoff, who's obviously a Memphis grad.
Gentleman from West Tennessee.
He believes the NCAA's enforcement process is inefficient and unfair. I agree with that. He has teamed
give
up
David
with
Kustoff credit. Everybody will join up with him on this one. This is like taking on the IRS.
He's teamed up with Burgess Owens from
Profiling
Utah
Courage
and Josh Harder, who's a Democrat from California, to introduce a bill Tuesday that would create a statute
Any
of
kin to
limitations.
Jay Morgan Harder.
I don't
is
believe
the gentleman from California any kin to Jay Morgan Harder?
I don't believe
and the Memphis Harders.
I don't believe so. But this bill would create a statute of limitations on NCAA violations of 2 years. Anything after 2 years.
Well, that knocks them out right there because they work by the hour. So,
it'll place limits on how long the NCAA has to complete its investigation. 8 months for a notice of allegations, 1 year for sanctions, and it gives schools an option to appeal any sanctions they receive to a third-party arbitrator. I can tell you right now, people are on board. Whoever you want on board is on board with this. NCAA especially with this process, with the IARP nonsense, everyone knows it's low-hanging fruit. So they will join on and agree.
It's always good politics to take on any DC acronym, NCA, IRS. Smart politics for Congressman Kustoff.
I agree, and that's where you sort of have to have the question about
soon to sign on as a co-sponsor will be Congressman Steve Cohen.
You have to ask about grandstanding and everything with anything that has to do with
Congress
the NCAA.
Grandstanding?
With the NCAA, if the NCAA comes up, it's low-hanging fruit. It's easy. They're ridiculous, and I think it would be.
I want
nice.
to hear somebody defend them. That's the tough task. Nobody.
No one's going to do that. No one's dumb enough to do that. That's a.
Let's give the IRS more power. No, that's
killing
suggested.
That would kill your political career. To try to back the NCAA.
It would and it should.
Yes, but it'll be nice to, if this does indeed pass, to finally get a statute of limitations and decide these things quickly. If you're going to punish someone, punish them. Don't leave them out in the dark. I think the NC State the NC State notice of allegations was in 2017, 2016.
I got one closer than that. Ole Miss. I mean, just that threat of NCA hanging over you, it kills recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cam Ward said,
and how dumb! I've always thought it was really dumb with the old process. You're appealing Your appeal is to the people who handed out the sanctions in the first place.
You ain't got a prayer.
What's the point of an appeal?
Yeah.
But in this situation, you'd appeal to a third-party arbitrator.
Now, if I wanted to be conspiratorial,
okay,
and I don't want to,
I would say do you want to be?
Are you scared that Congressman Kustoff may know something that's coming and he's trying to get out in front of the PR of it?
I don't know. I mean, there's always that dark looming cloud over the Memphis basketball program, and that's one he holds until
the Wiseman case is adjudicated and finalized. Yeah, and that scares me that he might know something.
Why are we to the point though? And I probably shouldn't answer this because it's an easy answer. The NCAA is just ridiculous, and they can't figure anything out on their own. But why has Congress just had to pick up everything? They have had to do everything for the NCAA. Try to make the decisions for them on NIL.
Because when you leave that power vacuum, then somebody has to step in, and the NCAA has not been able to run its own business. And I've said before, I don't like Congress having to get involved in sports, and I don't think they want to until they see that you can't handle your own stuff.
Mm-hmm. But this would be a great step in the right direction. And I think here in Memphis we can agree the IARP situation, the process has been foolish. It has been ridiculous. Say something.
I think the government that governs the best governs the least.
Mm-hmm.
That's been said before.
Yes, it has. But Congress has to step in and help the NCAA with everything nowadays. So we'll see how that works itself out. We'll give you updates as that gets introduced and moved along. But when we come back, it'll be officially time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. We'll do that right here on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
Hey, this is Eli Savoy. Greg Gaston and I have moved. Instead of Sports 56 middays, we are now Sports 56 mornings. That's right. Join us every morning from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything. A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Hey, congratulations on the new time slot.
Thanks, and congratulations to you for, let's say, doing commercials for Central Barbecue.
That was very diplomatic.
Hey, doing commercials for Central Barbecue is nothing to sneeze at. You get to tell everyone about the best slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue there is, plus all the other great things at Central Barbecue, like the ribs and the smoked chicken wings and the great bologna sandwich. You get to tell them about those things.
Actually, you just did. You just did the one job I had to do today.
I mean, I didn't mean to.
Fine. You get the new time slot, and you get to tell everyone about Central Barbecue.
Yeah.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
I fantasize about this back in Chicago. Mercy, mercy, need that mercy.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Looking for something new at Taco Bell? Try the original tacos meets the instant classic, nacho fries. There's bound to be some magic. Nacho fries are essentially building blocks for culinary imagination. Slightly seasoned. Nah, go with bold spices. Warm nacho cheese and sour cream. Loaded taco fries are covered with seasoned beef, nacho cheese sauce, ranch, tomato, and shredded cheese. In short, the legend of nacho fries lives on.
Brett, what I learned today is that you and Bryant Dacus want to get rid of me and send me to the WWE to be a wrestler. That's first and foremost. But no, honestly, what I did
No, we want you to make a gazillion dollars.
No, y'all want to get rid of me. It's all right. You can admit it.
No, we do not. We want you to make a gazillion dollars.
Yeah.
And you would crush it.
I think you'd be great, Gabe.
What do you guys, of the names we've heard today, Gorgeous Gabe,
Gabe the Babe,
Coon the Goon, Gabe the Babe.
I mean, it really depends what kind of role you want to play.
Hey, you guys would know best. Y'all are the ones.
And you know who's really going to cash in? John Hart.
Yeah.
Manager. Stage manager.
Oh,
yeah.
How great would he be? He'd make Jimmy Hart look like a piker.
He'd do my talking. And he could do it. He could do some talking, I'll tell you that much.
He could.
No, but what I really did learn today is that Coca-Cola is buying body armor for a valuation of $5.6 billion. I've had body armor. It's very good. But the sports drink brand is being valued at $8 billion. But they bought it for $5.6 billion. Kobe Bryant in 2014, obviously before his death, $6 million investment into body armor. That $6 million investment is now worth $400 million because of his early investment into body armor. That's going to be inherited by his family. So obviously, it's still very sad that they did lose Kobe at such a young age, but I'm very happy for them that investment has turned into as much as it has.
For sure. What I learned today, Odell Beckham, he just isn't worth all this hassle every single year, all this attention. I think he's been a flake from day one at every level of sports he's ever played. Every coach has waited and waited on what, Gabe? All that potential.
Mm-hmm. He has it's been a struggle with the Browns. It was never really all that great of a fit because I knew that they were going to go to that running style of offense. But his dad can't be that type of a distraction for an NFL franchise. I understand at times in high school and AAU,
maybe
sometimes in college, not even really. I don't understand that. But in the
not
NFL,
much.
You're trying to tell a NFL coach to feed your son the ball. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Now, what I could have done without, and this is one of the funniest stories you are going to hear all week, so stay tuned here. Jeff Banks, who is the special teams coach, former special teams coach for Alabama, moved to Texas with Steve Sarkisian. He left his wife and kids for a stripper known as Pole Assassin. He ended up marrying her later, and they live in Texas, yada, yada, yada. She was first featured on Jerry Springer, on the Jerry Springer Show. And I have to say, Brett, I looked up doing some research. Pole Assassin and Jerry Springer Show had a actual video on Twitter. She lives up to her name. She is absolutely a pole assassin. But Texas, of course, hired Jeff Banks. And on Halloween, Pole Assassin has a monkey who sometimes performs with her when she's pole dancing.
Wild stuff.
This monkey allegedly attacked a trick-or-treater on Halloween, and they're being sued because of the monkey who performs with her attacked a child.
When HR calls you in, how do you explain yourself?
I have no idea. But I also find it funny You know, you go, for me, I've been on a lot of visits to a lot of places when I was going through the recruiting process. Every single coach has the same message. We're faith, we're family, we're football here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You left your kids and wife for a stripper, bro. You can't tell.
Name pole
Now you're
assassin.
preaching all in.
Pole assassin. I can support a lot of decisions. That's one. I'm sorry. That is the most ridiculous thing ever. And also,
What position did he coach?
Special
Special,
teams.
yeah.
Special teams. He's also, he was sort of the right-hand man special teams coach for Nick Saban for years.
You know, between the strength room and special teams, you're always going to get that.
I have to say, he is a very unassuming looking guy. He does not look like a guy who would be married to a woman that goes by pole assassin. But she is a pole assassinator. I can tell
She
you
also
that.
blamed the kid.
Yeah, and she did blame a kid, even though she's the one who, at their house, she set up a haunted house for the children to come through.
Told people to come in. Yeah.
Of course she did.
And she had to delete her whole Twitter account because she was posting videos that were incriminating herself.
Oh, wow. Now on the main stage, could have done without. This is kind of a preemptive, could do without. Because we're going to have hot, screaming takes everywhere in about 30 minutes after the first CFP polls release. Gary Barta, the AD at Iowa, he's going to be public enemy number one. He will have some misspeak, misstatement that everybody will glom onto for the next 2 days. And then, what we'll do this weekend? We'll play ball. And this week's poll won't mean a thing.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And that's what we're looking forward to here in about 6 minutes when the broadcast starts. I want to see who the top 4, top 5 teams are in the country. Who's going to be on the outside?
Are you going to go crazy on Twitter?
Well, let me just say, depends where Cincinnati's at.
I'm with you.
I could have Twitter fingers tonight. My Twitter fingers could be active.
Yeah, but there's still so much more football to play, and everybody wants to have that screaming hot take night. It will be good TV leading us up into potentially champagne flowing tonight for the Atlanta Braves.
Game
if
6.
It doesn't flow tonight, it flows tomorrow night for somebody for dang sure.
And you know what I'm looking forward to. I opened the show with it. Maction tonight. Ball State versus Akron. Miami of Ohio versus Ohio. By the way, Miami of Ohio. Blaine Gabbert's brother, Brett Gabbert, is the starting quarterback there.
Get you about a 5-team parlay going tonight, Gabe.
Eastern Michigan.
Look what I'm doing to you. Got
Toledo.
you in the wrestling and got you in a 5-team parlay. Both of them sure to go wrong.
All right. We got to ask Bryant Dacus right now. Ball State or Akron? Who are we taking?
Oh, I've already cooked up something. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay, you've got something cooked up?
Oh, you got one, Bill?
I do. So
Okay,
I'm taking
let's go.
Ball State Akron. Take the under. Under 58 and a half.
Okay, 58
Brian, I love you.
Eastern Michigan at Toledo, take over 54 and a half.
There we go.
And then Miami of Ohio at Ohio, take under 54 and a half. So we're playing all overs, unders.
You have heard it here first.
Yeah. Now, don't come after me if
with that and with the winnings, you pay any cover charge it takes to see Pole Assassin.
I wonder if she's still working. I bet her and Jeff Banks make some good money together. They make some bank together.
Is Cornbread Maxwell right about Pole Assassin? I mean, does Father Time get them too? Well, I guess so.
Hey, do you want me to send you the video just so you can see? Nothing. There's nothing explicit. Nothing explicit at all. It was on the Jerry Springer. It was on public TV.
I'm scared that's the night the FBI gets in my phone.
That's just research purposes.
Clear that history.
Yeah.
Make sure you clear that history. That's all we have for today. Thanks to Dave Woloshin, thanks to Brent Beard, thanks to Drew Hill, and thanks to Bo Marchant. Thank to you for listening. Also, we're going to bring on Alex Kuhn, my brother, and Barrett Jones tomorrow to talk some college football. But make sure you have a good night. Watch a World Series. Watch some action. We'll holler at you tomorrow at 3.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Holidays are fast approaching, so start on your list now at Mid-South Hobbies. E-Flight Airplanes, Athearn Trains. Mid-South Hobbies has a huge selection of cars, trucks, and boats from Arma, Losi, Axial 1/10 and 1/24 scale cars, trucks, and crawlers. Spectrum batteries and all accessories are here now. Santa shops local. Hope you do too. Make your holidays fun and exciting at Mid-South Hobbies. Open 7 days a week at 4862 Summer at Mendenhall. Call 901-682-9402 for more details and information. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from Mid-South Hobbies.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon. Cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code BOOST for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill-up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code BOOST for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BOOST.
I'm with Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Shipping Kitchen. Pat, how are things downtown at the Shipping Kitchen?
Thanks, Brett. Wow, what a year it's been. 2020 threw a lot of changes at us. One of them was our great Memphis customers figured out how to ship our ribs all over the country.
Pat, we know you ship your ribs and shoulder all over the country. What are some of the other popular packages?
One of our most popular packages that's come out in the last year or two has been the barbecue nacho box. Well, our nacho box is an all-Memphis box. It includes our pork shoulder. It includes our friends at Poncho's cheese dip. Also includes Brim's chips.